Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us to the regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council, called to order today at 6:02 p.m. Madam Clerk, can you please take roll call?
Hassan Ahmad.
Here.
Mo Beydoun.
Here.
Nancy Breyer.
Here.
Robert Constant.
Present.
Denise Malinowski Maxwell.
Here.
Hassan Saab.
Present.
And Tom Wenzel.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Next up, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll have our Treasurer, Lisa X. Clan, lead us on the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You all may be seated. Next up, we have the agenda approval.
Council Chair,
Councilman Saab.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the agenda for the regular meeting of March 25, 2025 as submitted. Support.
Motion made by Councilman Saab, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up, we have the approval of the minutes. Minutes of the regular meeting.
Hold on a minute. This is not. There.
Yep.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes for the regular meeting of March 11, 2025, as outlined in 4-A.
second.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion on that? Madam Clerk, can you let me into the meeting? Thank you. Any discussion on the approval of the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. I love the engagement. Next up, we have public hearings and public comments. You have 2 minutes in the beginning. Please state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you live on. Are you speaking as the treasurer, or are you speaking as the
I am
resident? today?
speaking this evening, I don't want to touch this thing, as your city treasurer.
Awesome.
Good evening, everyone. Lisa Hicks, Clayton Treasurer. What I wanted to speak on would be the budget items that are on the agenda. I want to draw your attention, council, honorable body, to what I left for you, which is the cash flow report to take us through the fiscal year. I hope everybody has a copy of that. If not, I have copies for you if you'd like. I did bring extra copies with me, and I will give that. Is it okay if I give this?
Yep, please hand them over to the
I think there's 7 there.
clerk's office, and they'll hand that over. Thank you.
Yeah, make sure I gave you enough, 7. They were in your mailbox as well, and we'll give you some copies here. So what I want to draw to your attention is through the month of June, which is when our fiscal year ends, June 30th, what we anticipate right now based on the financial records we have, we would end with a balance, at least it's a positive balance, of $1.6 million, $1,599,951.28 to be exact. Now, keep in mind that that does not include any interfunds for the balance of the year, though we just did a sweeping volume of them recently in March. But what my concern is if you do budget amendments and additional appropriations, then your fund balance policy, which is 8%, if you do 8% of your $60 million budget, you need to have a balance of $4.8 million, okay, by the end of the fiscal year. So based on current projections, I think this is really close, and I am not going to give an opinion which way to go or try to persuade you, but I wanted to share the facts with you so you know what we're talking about, what the cash flow is, what is available, and don't forget, you're the body who approved the resolution, adopted the resolution for the fund balance policy of 8% that it was registered with the state of Michigan, Michigan Department of Treasury. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience? Anyone on Zoom? Mr. Abdul Haq has his hand up. If we can unmute him.
Hello.
There you go. How you doing,
Can
sir?
you hear me?
Yep, please state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you live on. You have 2 minutes.
Zuhair Abdul Haq, Rosemary. I just want to ask the city council to put on the ballot in November an amendment to rescind the Hadley override. I think the residents deserve reduce in their taxes, and our city becoming very, very high in taxes, especially water and other things. So if you can instruct one of the lawyers to start putting this, to get it on the ballot either in August or in November so that people can vote on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I thank you very much for everything you do.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Anyone else in the audience?
Council Chair,
Sure, yes, Councilman.
I just want to make a statement on public comment. This is National Women's History Month, and we've been honoring several women. City Council has through social media, and well-deserved to all the people that have been recognized. But there's a group of women in the community that are kind of overlooked in this special month, and that's the mothers out there. And the mothers are the backbone of our society and our families. And I think even though they don't have corporate jobs or business owners, which there's nothing wrong with that, those are great features to have. But I think we should honor all the mothers. They get one day a year, Mother's Day, and we're having a whole month for National Women's History Month. So I just want to make sure that the mothers aren't left out on this, because I know my wife is raising a second family, and I think that's one of the most important things ever in the world. So congratulations to all the mothers out there. We honor you for National Women's History Month.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move over from to
Council
fund.
Chair, could we have a moment of silence? We just lost one of the best librarians last evening, Mr. Robert Butler.
Mr. Robert Butler. Let's do a moment of silence, Mr. Robert Butler. Thank you, Councilwoman. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it just happened.
Next up is fund transfers and current claims.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve current claims and ACH wire transfers 6-1 through 6-21, 6-23 through 6-25, and 6-27 through 6-58 as submitted.
Second?
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. That feels good. Next up, we have 7A Parks and Recreation Director Zabinski, ZZBOZ.
Zabaznik.
Zabaznik. Is that why it has in quotation? Zabaznik? There it is.
Council
Bid
Chair.
award to Richard A. Young Communities. Yep, go ahead.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the contract for the Richard A. Young Community Center Whirlpool renovation Phase 1 between the city and Miracle Method Commercial Surface Refinishing Company for the fixed amount of $2,250 to refinish the surface of the Whirlpool to be funded out of the 2024-2025 Parks and Recreation Budget Account number 692-932 as outlined in 7-A.
Second?
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion?
Long overdue.
Yes.
I have a question. This is for the Whirlpool, correct?
Yes, it is.
So I've checked it out a couple of times. I know the sauna also needs some updating. I feel like the machine is always going out when I talk to some of the residents. Just keep an eye on that one. But as far as the Whirlpool goes, I feel like this is like our second or third time we're doing something with it. Is there something wrong internally with it, or are we just resurfacing it to make it more appealing to the residents?
There was a lot wrong with it. For me, the last 6 weeks, the first couple of weeks, I went through every facility, every park, assessed everything. And the first goal is to fix what we have. You know, there's nothing worse than seeing, burned out light bulbs, broken things. I have a list of 22 items that just didn't work. I mean, we didn't even have a floor scrubber. We've been mopping the entire center with a mop. That means the gym, everything. You can imagine what that was just because we didn't get things fixed. So I've been going through each thing. If we have an amenity, and it's an important amenity, we have a center that has a whirlpool, it needs to work. And once we had a problem with the pump, because the pump wasn't pumping, the state shut us down because it wasn't meeting the state's requirements. So we shut it down, and we had a lot of people come and assess it. We got all kinds of bills up to $10,000 to repair it. So I just had to break it down to the lowest denominator. Once we drained the water out of it, we seen the whole finish was all falling apart. It basically, the way I look at it, if I won't step in it, I don't expect anyone else. So the first thing I did is we called several reglazing companies. Most of them wouldn't touch it because it was a commercial facility. We finally found one, a really good reputation, the Miracle Method. They specialize in this, so they gave us the lowest price. So that took the first thing that we wanted, the tub to look nice when we're all finished, because once we get the pump fixed, we're going to fill it up. So the next problem was we narrowed it down to the pump that circulated everything. That was causing all of our levels to not meet all the standards. And that's the second part of this thing, is to get the pump replaced. And we've been kind of like putting rebuilt parts on it. We basically just bought a new pump, and hopefully it's a lot larger pump. So we went from like a 1 horsepower pump to 1.5. It should be more than enough, and I hope we won't have any more problems with it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Council Chair?
Yes, sir, Councilman.
Yeah, just briefly, so years ago, the sauna stopped working. People would put water on the rocks. All someone had to do was take and put a new unit in. And that took like 2 years. And then the same thing with the whirlpool. And it just has to be maintained, and it shouldn't be that expensive or that difficult. But that's great, because a lot of people are waiting to see both the sauna working, which it's working now, and the whirlpool. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Parks and Recreation Director Zabanznik.
Zabus.
Council Chair?
Bid award to Richard A. Young, okay, Councilwoman Breyer.
All right. I'd like to make a motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council authorize the repair/replacement of the whirlpool pump by Pool Scouts for the Richard A. Young Community Center whirlpool renovation. Phase 2 for a cost of $2,465 to be funded out of the 2024-2025 Parks and Rec budget account number 692-932 is outlined in 7B.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by Councilman Constant. Any discussion?
Council Chair,
Councilman?
this is not about the pump, but that area there, the walls and the paint in there, is that gonna?
As soon as we get the pump, the whirlpool going, we're going to go and we're going to re-grout the floors. It'll make a world of difference on it. Then the whole room is going to become more inviting and attractive. So this is like going through step one. We're just doing one step at a time, one thing at a time. Once we get it done, we have a whole plan to just keep moving through. That's what we're doing everywhere. You know, the saunas were all replaced. One of them blew up about a week ago. We were able to get that fixed right away. So everything is all functioning properly. And that's how we're going to keep it.
Is there enough money in the budget to take care of these? These aren't going to put you over on your budget, are you?
Not at all. No, I worked it. I mean, we deal with pennies here. So, you know, we call every contractor. We really break it down to get the very best price. And that's what we did. So we can get the most for it. So we have more money to spend on something else.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I have a question. It's not about the pump. It's about the Van Houten Park behind us here. Van Houten, I'm sorry. I emailed the director on the 17th, engineer on the 17th regarding the condition of the new equipment and the tunnel we have. And I never received a response.
He did. I think he said it's on a punch card to be replaced.
No. This was on 3/17. I never
Yeah,
received.
yeah, I think it was checked.
Nope, this is the last thing I said.
Scroll down. Right here. Go back up.
Right, but the thing is that they were coming in for payment. Was that payment ever issued, do you know?
We're still withholding a good deal of money, until they finish our punch list. And the city engineer is working on a solution for the tunnel that on that particular part. We still have a lot of problems with a lot of it. The AstroTurf they used isn't done properly. The edging isn't proper. A lot of cleanup to the site. A lot of things have to be pulled out. We just sent them a whole list this week.
Can we ask that you get a building official to go out there and cite everything wrong with it? Because there's a lot of safety issues with this build out for kids.
There is, and it's really, the kids are already trying to use it. It's not even really finished. It's not even completed.
My wife took my son. She's like, "Oh my God, we got a new park in Dearborn Heights." I said, "The Van Hollen Park has always been there, Layla. It's a new place.
Right, and we're working on the whole shelter, the whole shelter concept to refreshen it, make it look 100 times better, replacing broken concrete. We're trying to patch up the splash pad, but I can tell you this summer it's going to be an issue because it's obviously leaking water underneath the ground, and it's a very expensive fix. So we're looking at every single thing there. We've been working with everything. We're going to try to freshen it up and make it look better, but the chances of having it working properly probably will not happen this summer, and I know that's going to be a big issue for everybody.
I have a question, Councilman Saab, if that's okay. Yes. When we say it's very expensive, what is the solution, though? Like, we can't afford it.
For the splash pad?
Yeah.
The splash pad is going to probably cost, if we just want to fix the pipes and tear up all the concrete, fix the pipes, we're probably looking at $80,000 to $100,000. When we start talking that kind of money, it's 20 years old. It's time to look at a whole new system. We have a brand new pump there. We just have to replace the sprays, the concrete, and obviously the plumbing in it. And that's on my list to go after a grant to handle it.
That's what I was going to say. Like, can we ask the state? Can we ask the county? Like, hey, can we try to ask a little bit from everybody and just put it all together to be able to give back to them? I mean, I would hate to not be able to use that splash pad once again. For 3 years, we've been told that the splash, and it's not you, but for 3 years, we said that we're going to get it back up and running. We're going to get it back up and running. We got plumbers out there. We got people out there, DPW's looking at it. This contractor is looking at it. Like,
yeah,
let's give them something.
Yeah, a serious problem with all the water. The pipes are cracked. They're broken from probably freezing, settling of the ground. It's ready to cave in. Basically, if we turn on that water, it's probably just going to wash it away and make it worse. So that's the situation. I think the water bill on it last year was $30,000 because most of the water was going into the ground. So, it's just not feasible to run something like that. I know when the temperatures go up, so will the temperatures on our residents. So, yes, it's definitely, we just finished all that assessment, and it needs to go for a grant and get replaced.
Thank you.
Council Chair?
Councilman?
I think the biggest problem with this splash pad is when it was built, it's like every other splash pad around, it recycles the water. And this splash pad, the water goes through the spray nozzles down the drain into the sewer.
You're correct, and we've already looked at alternative ways that not only recycle it, but it can go into a collection that we can use to water the grass for the soccer field. So we're looking at, there's a lot of new ways to do things now, and we can do that. But I can tell you, coming from Dearborn that has new splash pads, swimming pools, in this climate, every single spring when we open them up, they are nothing but trouble. We spend a fortune replacing pipes and that are frozen no matter how they're pumped out. It's just, in this environment, pools and splash pads are expensive. And we had a new splash pad. It lasted 2 years. We had to tear it up because pipes were broken in it. So they're troublesome. And we'll try to do our best not to have that as we move forward.
How much do you think is a new system would cost?
I can't say for sure. I've been researching. I was actually doing that yesterday, looking to see what alternatives are, because that one being 20 years old, I wanted to see if there was something even nicer and even more fun that the kids would enjoy. So I was kind of hoping that they would really, they'd come a long way on them. Unfortunately, they haven't changed a lot. So I was a little disappointed because I always want to give them something better than what we're replacing.
I know there is a beautiful one in Westland.
Yes.
That park.
And a lot of them I've seen, they have a lot more space than we have. So we have a very limited footprint there for one. So we're kind of limited to what we can do with it. But I'm going to try to find what we can. And now that it really should have enough fence around it too, because the kids could wander out into the parking lot. So there's a lot of modifications we're going to do with it. And then I'm looking at the possibility that we can make it with a fountain. So at night when we shut it off, it'd be a colored fountain. So when you're sitting there and enjoying the park at night, you're actually going to have a fountain as well as a splash pad.
Thank you,
You know.
Director.
So,
Council Chair.
Yep, one more, guys, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's in an area of the city that doesn't have a lot of other parks. And so even without the splash pad, it's got the walking track and the playground and everything else. So it's in a good location even without the splash pad working.
correct, yeah. Just looks bad that we don't have it working, but we're going to work on that. It's just not an easy or quick fix, unfortunately.
Maybe we get park millage money from the county for it.
Yes, that's the plan.
You guys ready?
Okay.
Any other discussions? Seeing none. Motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by Councilman Constant. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up is reports from mayor. Running a fit annual Martin Marathon Saturday, April 12th,
Council Chair,
2025. Thank you. Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council grant permission for running fit events to hold their Martian Marathon on Saturday, April 12th, 2025 at 6:15 a.m. as outlined in 8A.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Constant, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up is 9A Clerk Senior Annual Liquor License Review.
Council Chair?
Councilwoman
I'd
Breyer.
like to make a motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council receive, note, and file the 2025 liquor license review and direct Corporation Counsel to contact and/or draft a letter to businesses with deficiencies. If the department that cited the deficiency has not already done so, requesting the deficiencies be addressed within 30 days of said letter to provide an update to the City Council as outlined in 9A.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion?
Council Chair, could the clerk give us a brief synopsis of what this entails?
It's to follow the ordinance that was created for an annual liquor license review. So questionnaires goes out to the departments, building, fire, police. They fill out the form to see if they're water or comptroller for the water, treasurer for delinquent personal property taxes. And then it's the clerk's job to compile those reports, present them to city council for your review. Attached was the list that was given. There were some of deficiency. The last one, I'm happy to report for Warren Valley, that has been resolved. So they're in compliant right now, so they're in the process of obtaining their liquor license, if they have not already done so. And then they have to go, because it isn't a new address, they have to go really through the similar questionnaire. So we're in the process of doing that. Hopefully on the next agenda, that will be on the next agenda and approved. And then the other ones are 4 by the police, it was cited, and 2 by water.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. City Engineer Dib, USGS Joint Funding Agreement 2025.
Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the renewal of the joint funding agreement between the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, and the city for the operation of a stream gauging station on the Ecorse Creek for a cost of $16,000, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the contract on behalf of the city. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller or clerk to sign the necessary warrants and the treasurer to issue payment from GL account 592-536-817-000 as outlined in 9-B.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any agreement, any
Council Chair?
discussions?
Yes.
Yep.
This account, the GL account, is this an actual account or is this out of fund balance?
Let's ask our,
The general account.
it's our general ledger though.
Yeah. Is that a question for the treasurer or?
Or the controller, one of the two?
Council Chair?
Hang on 1 second. I'll let the councilman do his part first.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi, so there is, this is not coming from fund balance. There is enough in this budget for this purchase.
I think he's asking the account number that is being asked and used.
Yep, that account number has a balance.
What's the balance
It
in
has
that
enough of a
account?
balance to pay for that. I'm sorry?
What's the balance in
Water?
that account?
Water, yeah.
There is 140,000 left in this account.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep,
Councilman Wenzel?
Is this an annual fee or it's 2-year contract or $16,000 for?
It's annual.
It's annual. It's in our backup.
I was just looking at that and see that. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you. DPW Director Dancy, Water Billing Department door.
Council Chair?
Councilwoman Breyer.
I'd like to make a motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase and payment of a new door for water billing department from Door and Hardware Company for a total cost $2,225. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller or clerk to sign the necessary warrants and the treasurer to issue payment from GL account contractual services 101-265-818-000 as outlined in 9C.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by Councilman Constant, was that?
Yes.
All right.
Council
Any
Chair?
discussion?
Yes.
Councilman
I have a
Saab.
few questions about this. Director Dancy, this is your
Cup of tea?
cup of tea.
Love the festivity today with the yellow. You definitely are from Ann Arbor wearing that yellow, Michigan.
It's better school.
Not in basketball.
They're still in
Yet to be
it.
determined.
So, Director, a few questions here, and I don't mean to grill you on this.
No, you're all right.
What's the purpose of this?
I was just instructed by our administration, I think we had a couple concerns from employees, just security-based, to get 3 quotes on a door. The water billing department, as you know, if you walk through the city hall, is the only 2 employees that technically have no security in the event we have any type of emergency. So I was just tasked with get 3 prices. These employees do want some type of security at their particular office. It's kind of where we were at. So I just provided 3 prices and then administrate them, put them on the agenda.
Okay, is there a door to those back offices or no?
The 2 employees that sit up front, there's no protection, it's just the swinging gate. And then the back office where the utility billing, and then the mailing room where they print and mail all of the, any type of, I'm sure the treasurer uses as well. I think the whole city hall uses that particular room.
So what prompted this all of a sudden?
To my knowledge, just employees putting in a request to the administration. I wasn't here, I mean.
Council Chair.
Hang on 1 second, please.
Chief, may I have you up here, please? So, I know this stemmed from an incident at the last meeting we had,
Correct.
and there was apparently, there was concerns of threats being made towards an employee in the middle of the night or
Yes,
to family members.
correct.
And I got notification that a police report was filed.
No police report was
Okay, or a complaint was filed,
Correct.
right? Was that ever investigated?
It was investigated, and we felt that it was closed at an administrative level.
I'm sorry?
It was closed on an administrative level.
Okay, closed, but if a threat was being made or anything towards an employee, and it was either put in writing or put on that there's a security, it was closed at administration level, by why are we requesting doors for that department all of a sudden?
The person who made the alleged allegation felt that there was no need to make a police report and go further with it. And then we closed it based on her being the person that wanted to report this.
He or she, let's not give away any
Whatever.
personnel
He or she.
information.
Okay?
Well, I mean, it didn't matter at this point because she was named out in the last city council meeting.
I mean, let's
so-
still refrain from watching it at this meeting,
Yeah.
please.
My question to you is that if an allegation's made
Yes,
and it's brought up
correct.
in a city, and then somebody retracts it, is that
Yes.
easy to just close it out?
Yeah.
So I can come to you and give you a false allegation or a claim or a threat that happened to me, then decide later on to just close it?
Where are we going with this right now?
I'm just trying to, hold on, Council Chair.
It has nothing to do with the
Council
door.
Pro Tem. It does, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. My thing is that I was named in something, right? I didn't do it. I'm telling you, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
If somebody did it, somebody should be charged and investigated. But also, if a false claim was ever made, that should be investigated also.
The claim was that not made against you, it was made that she was being threatened by others.
He or
because
she,
of-
please.
He or she was being threatened by others because of a statement that you made during a city council meeting. This person, he or she is the victim. That person came forward at first. When we were asked how far did he or she wanted to go with this, they felt that it was,
Our comptroller is also raising her hand. Maybe she has some insight on this. If that's okay, Chief.
yeah, and then we can go to control in a second. And we felt that there was a couple things we went back and forth about, maybe moving the water department to a different area in the city hall. We just felt that that wasn't appropriate at the time. And then there was a request made by all the people that worked in the water department to at least have a door that was secured.
I gotta say, they should have a door.
Yes.
Let me tell you guys something. The water department, regardless of whatever the internal issue is, I've been there where I've seen certain residents just explode. You know, like something breaks out, the door's a swinging door, put a door.
And that we felt that the door was. the
But
best
I think where the councilman is coming from this is like, why is it now that the councilman started speaking up against, the water department or for whatever he started speaking out against? I think the councilman just wants to make sure that this isn't because what he said, because he voiced his concern. And so he just wants reassurance that it's not because he spoke up. He wants, and so I think I can just kind of elaborate on it, like, and I'm sure he'll understand that as well, Councilman Saab, if that's okay, is give them a door, because at the end of the day, we're seeing outrageous water bills, and people are afraid that if, maybe somebody comes in there and says, I'm tired of hearing the same thing you've been saying, let me come in there, let me try to give you a piece of my mind. God knows, who knows? I mean, has there been any reports of any dangerous things at City Hall in the last year?
No.
Either way, for the employees' security purposes, have a door, prevent any type of future approaches.
Council Chair?
Well, let me make sure Councilman Saab is over. 'Cause I did.
Go ahead,
Are you all set?
Councilwoman.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Hey, what about the ordinance department? It's already got a secure door. It's empty. Ordinance is down at the Justice Center.
Too small.
Yeah, for the water department to go to the Justice Center?
No. Across the hall. Or
That
put the girls
that was one of the options, and that I have Mariana speak on
Put
that.
them in that department.
Before you do
'cause
that,
it's
hang on,
secure.
Mariana. Hang on one second.
That was one of the options. That was option, I would say one, but we felt that wasn't the best move at the time. Option two was secure them with a door, and they felt comfortable with staying at the current location as long as they had a door that was secure. And that's what
So why wasn't it?
the first one,
Yeah.
I believe it was just going to be too costly and it was too small for them.
Okay, I mean, 'cause
Yeah.
Hang on one second. Before you guys, please, are you all set here, Councilwoman?
I was still stopped.
Okay, so then go ahead.
No, because I'm thinking if you just move the actual people across the hall and keep the rest of the building over on the other side, that may work. I mean,
Yeah.
it's large enough for two people to sit in there and do what they do in that front portion of the water department.
Yeah, that was one of the options, but like I told you, it was one of the options. It was one of two options. And it was the mayor's office and his staff that decided to go with the door.
Can I, all set here?
Council Chair.
Hang on one second, because I was supposed to go to Shannon and then Councilman Wenzel, so let me go to Shannon Shepherd first, please. Go ahead,
Yeah, I just
Shannon.
wanted to offer some clarification. So it was one of my employees that had come to me and just said that they didn't feel safe. They said the residents were getting more and more aggressive after the council meeting last night. There weren't any council members named or anything like that. And they just said that because there's no door and no like security person in their work area, they just felt that they didn't have a safe and comfortable working environment. And so I had sent out an email to the mayor, chief of staff, I think HR director, DPW director, and the police chief, just to kind of ask for suggestions on how to resolve it.
Okay,
Council Chair.
well, I'm gonna give you your, hang on. I'm gonna go to Councilman Wenzel, and then I'm gonna go to Mariana, and then I'll come to Councilman Sal. Go ahead.
Thank you. A couple weeks ago, I was at City Hall and I was talking to some people and had the water bill issue and I walked right in there and the girls there said, please, Councilman, don't come in unless you're invited. And I walked, oh yeah, that's cool, and I walked, I said, man, you can just walk right in there. It's a plexiglass swinging thing. It's not even a door, it's just covers, it swings, it's made out of plexiglass. You just bend it and I don't even know if it has a lock on it at all. I don't think it does. And I thought to myself, I go, that's pretty unsafe, And then plus, I don't know, in the back area, once you get in there's a hallway over to the treasurer's office. I don't know if there's, like that. But I don't know if
That's
there's any
not the
other people in
treasurer's office.
danger there. But, I'm 100% in favor of this. And I talked to Director Dancy about this and all this pressure's put on him. And because it's sort of his department, building maintenance, and it wasn't his idea, which he should claim because it is a good idea, but it was brought up by the administration through him to put it on the agenda. So I think it's a good idea, and we should definitely pass this.
Thank you, Councilman. Mariana, do you have something you want to wrap up with?
Yes, I just wanted to add that the old ordinance building, it is currently being used by the Building and Engineering Department. There are 3 employees who sit there pretty much on a daily basis. So dislocating them to an unsafe location, we would have the same issue all over again with the 3 additional employees.
I don't think anything's dangerous.
Well,
Right.
but again, regardless, it wouldn't have been an easy solution, as well as the fact that the supervisor of the water billing department is currently right across from the water billing area. So it's an easy space. If they have any issues, they can go and call their supervisor. It's ideal to keep them in the location where they're at. But again, we just believe that, as you have all kind of concluded, there's a need for a door, and that's why the request is in front of you today.
Council Chair.
Council Chair,
I'm gonna have Councilman Saab and Councilman Ahmad, and we're wrapping this one up, please, guys.
So just a follow-up to that, you want to put a door, but the counter has plexiglass. Right?
Correct.
So how is that making anything safe?
Again, we're taking steps towards it. At least it would prevent the entry of individuals into the space.
How about what we asked for a week ago? How about a review of the water department and the process and procedures of the water department?
Okay.
We're talking about the doors right now, guys.
Thank you.
Let's be on the same thing. Councilman?
Thank you, Council Chair. I have no issue with the door. I mean, every department needs to have a door. But what kind of door is this for 2,200? Is that like a safe door? And that's
There's nothing to attach it to, so the building supervisor mentioned that it's nothing really our building department could do or feels that they want the liability in case there are any issues in the future. So we called 3 commercial door companies, because we also can't just put in a residential hollow door.
By the way, that's a very cheap
Yeah.
door, I think.
Like I said, I mean,
Right?
Director,
there's
you
nothing to
said,
attach it to over there.
3,500?
in our backup, there's only one.
Oh, we called 3 companies and tried to get them in as quick as possible, and only one responded and came.
Oh, okay, so we don't have 3 bids then.
No, there was somebody out there, I think yesterday he finally came from a different company. I let the building supervisor handle
I
that.
would say we just table it till we have 3 bids, Council Chair, and then we can take it from there.
Okay.
And
I don't
hopefully we
think
can.
anybody here is opposing
No, it's fine.
not having the door. I
Yeah.
think this is just
Yeah,
saying.
every department needs the door, 100%.
No worries, but that was why there's only those, we called 3 companies, same day that I received the request. And one came out immediately, the other 2 didn't show up, and then when I happened to be in City Hall, I think it was yesterday, the building supervisor was there with somebody.
Is the counter glass, is it the same thing like the building department glass? The counter glass? Is that?
No,
Plexi.
no, it is just plexiglass. So again, I mean, it's one step in the right direction. It's not 100%.
Which one is safer, the one at the building department? Or
Yeah, the building department actually has some you can pull all the way down if needed.
Okay.
Well, that's the gate.
I don't know, yeah. He said, I'm not in this building every day, but.
Council Chair,
Yep.
I think the water department and the building department, that was put up during COVID. That's just
Yeah.
plexiglass. The treasurer's office and the clerk's office is the only one that has the,
The glass.
yes,
Glass.
yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the main point is just to prevent any unwanted entry of a individual that may come into City Hall. Like I said, it's the only building. that
Director, since you're gonna do, maybe work on a couple more bids, please, for the door, can you maybe get a bid for the actual grid glass for the counter too? Like, to
Yeah.
Make sure
I
they're,
mean, any company will give you a bid for whatever we ask for, so.
just to see how much it's gonna cost,
Yeah,
so.
that's fine.
I mean, like Councilman Saab said, I mean, if you're going to put a door, they can jump off the, from the counter
Yeah.
side. So
Council
it
Chair, just,
doesn't
Hold on,
make any sense. Thank you,
All good.
Director.
No worries.
Just a follow-up to that, just those counters are not ADA compliant also. So to spend all this money to put all the stuff on the doors, you really
Yeah.
don't have wheelchair access to any of these counters either. So
Yeah.
you'd still be in violation.
I'm sorry, say
Any project can grow legs as far as you want.
But you're gonna spend money and taxpayer money, you're gonna either do it right or not because somebody, the administration wants it. You either do it right or don't do it at all, because you're gonna place a door, there's no safety glass to protect anybody behind the counter where anybody stands, right?
It prevents entry.
If somebody
into
comes in
that
a
area.
wheelchair, those counters are not ADA, compliant.
Hey, if you can come up with a plan to redo the entire city hall, I'm all
Doesn't
for
matter.
it, Councilman.
When you do renovations and add to
Yeah.
something, you gotta be compliant.
Yeah.
Let's,
One more thing.
guys, I want to wrap this up.
Well,
Go ahead.
when I came in tonight, that swinging door was open. I had to close it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. So what do you guys want to do? Do we want to go out for bids on two more? Because that's what the policy and procedure, and I think we've all argued that.
Yes.
Or do you want to make a vote on this?
I prefer tabling
Okay.
for more bids.
Councilwoman Breyer, are you willing to table this? so that we
I
can-
agree we should table.
Okay.
We don't have the
Councilman
funds.
Constant, will you second that? Okay. All in favor, please state aye to
Aye.
table this. Tabling, you're referring back to administration. I'm sorry, referring back to
Refer back.
administration.
Refer back.
Get us the three bids and come back. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Ordinance Enforcement Animal Control Director LaFeeve, Animal Sheltering Agreement Extension.
Council Chair,
Councilman,
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the first amendment to the animal sheltering agreement between the city and Michigan Humane Society, which will extend the current contract to December 31st, 2027. In addition, authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the documents on behalf of the city and the treasurer to issue payments from Animal Pro GL 101-426-806-000. In addition, authorize a budget amendment to increase GL account 101-426-806-000 by $25,000 and decrease the part-time GL account 101-426-707-100 as outlined in 9-D.
Second.
motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Constant. Any
That's okay.
discussion on that?
Council Chair, first question, when it says decrease the part-time, by how much though? Doesn't say.
I was going to ask for 26, so we have a little extra in there. I've got 40,900 in my part-time budget, and if we decrease it by at least 26, it'll still give me my part-timer for the grass for the summer, and still leave a little money in there, which I'm probably going to have to come back to you guys on for my overtime budget's down to $900. So I may have to take a little bit out of that to cover that.
Okay, so I move to amend this motion to decrease the part-time GL account 426-707-100 by $26,000 as outlined in 9-D. Is that sufficient, Madam Clerk? And Council Chair, I understand that, I know this contract is for 3 years, but we can cancel
So
anytime.
I had a conversation with Doug from the Humane Society. We went back and forth. He did change the contract on us. We're still saving some money, still a little bit higher. What we agreed to was, there's no, clause in there that says we are forced to stay here.
I was told 6 months. We have a 6 months.
We could do
time
6
period.
months with them,
Yeah.
get us by, and then if, we can find something, who knows, maybe even open up our own animal shelter.
Well, we've been talking with other cities. Last month we talked, we're going to talk in April about trying to get a consortium for all these local cities to get together, find a place, and figure out how we can do this. So we're working on it. Like I said, it's going to take some time and a little money in the end, but.
I just don't want us to sleep on this for 3 years and then we're paying, $15,000 a month,
We're meeting month to month. So, like I said, it's,
couple of times a month,
that's, we're trying to get.
even
10
in an
cities
email.
together. So. but we're
How
working
many
on it.
cities, Director?
What's that?
How many cities are talking to?
We're looking at, I think, Canton, Livonia, Westland, Redford. I forgot the other two cities, but yeah, they're all in the same place we are. And, they're having to bite the bullet as well, so
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other discussion?
Council Chair,
Yep.
I would add, in those cities, we all tried an RFP back in October. The only one that applied to do an RFP was the Humane Society.
I know.
But all the cities did work together to try to get something else.
And it's terrible because like the Humane Society explained to themselves, like they have overhead, they have cost. And like, there's only so much that they can do. And like these animals need veterinarians, they need, the proper facility and caging and employees and lighting. And so like, I get it.
I even tried going back to Taylor last week and schmoozed them, trying to get back in with them. And they said it's going to be at least 2 months anyways before they can open theirs, and they're not taking anybody else in. But I tried.
Thank you.
So, yep.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Council Chair,
Yep.
I think this is for the director. Now, you're increasing the GL by 25 and decreasing by 26?
No.
It should-
I think we're taking 25 out of my part-time budget,
Okay,
25,000, and we're going to put it into the.
so it's
the animal-
25 and 25.
We're going to put it into the Animal Pro account 101-426-806.
So
I thought he
25
was
and
saying
25.
26 from the part-time, so he can use the extra 1,000 for something
Right.
to progress.
Well, no, I said that was, because with the animals, if we take in wildlife and we take in other things, or if there's any emergencies, there could be a little few costs in there, not quite to the exact amount that it's monthly. So I didn't want to just go to the exact dollar in case we have like a wildlife we take in there and they start charging us for, that we have the money to cover it, that's all.
Okay, so you need 26, not 25. in there.
26, we can get 26 out of my part-time account, if you guys will allow it.
Okay.
That'd be perfect, and it'll cover any extra costs we have for the animal shelter at the end of the.
Okay. We
So
just
then
want to
we're
make sure we have it
increasing,
right.
okay, so we're increasing, okay, I'm going to go ahead and amend my motion to increase GL account 101-426-806-000 by 26,000 and decreasing 26,000 of the part-time GL account 101-426-707-1000 as outlined in 9-D.
Thank you.
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
All right. Councilman Constant, do you second it?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Parks and
Council-
Recreation.
Council Chair, real quick question while the director is up there. I know it's not, the hot topic was the trailer park, and I know they went in there. Can you give us a real quick update on
Can
what
we,
happened?
can we have him, he can do that when it comes from announcements from administration. Right
That's
now,
at the end, though, and a lot of people, either way, it's going to take up time.
I know, let's get through this, but right now we're on city business. We can
City
give him
Business.
An agenda.
an agenda items. Yes, he can give us an update on that
All
after.
right, okay.
Thank you. Next up, we have Parks and Recreation Director Zabaznik. Please forgive me, Mr. Zabaznik.
That's fine.
But I'm gonna get it right, I promise you. Summerfest 2025 liquor license application. Took me forever to say Venegas.
Council Chair. Go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead.
Councilwoman Breyer, ladies first.
All
Ladies
right.
first.
Oh, wow. I'll make the motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council authorize the application to obtain a special license from the Michigan Liquor Control Commission to serve alcohol outdoors at the Canfield Community Center for the annual Dearborn Heights Summerfest scheduled for June 5-8, 2025, as outlined in 9E.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. Next up, we have 9F, Clerk's Office Election Budget Amendment.
Council Chair.
Councilman,
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the election budget as outlined in 9-F. Do I need to,
Second.
well, I want to hear from account number 101.
account number 101-190-981-000, capital outlay, requested amount 57,000, amended budgets 57,000. Account number 101-000-626-030, election grant reimbursement, requested amount 84,320.80 cents. Amended budget 84,320.80 cents. Receiving two grants that will cover the cost to pay for 4 debutators and other equipment.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad. I want to say Constant. Seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Madam Clerk, do you have anything on this for us?
Just real quick, there's going to be other ones coming in, but this is not out of the fund balance. These are, the 57,000
you.
is the two grants that you already received and we approved, the $30,000 from, it was a nonpartisan organization, and the 27,000, which was an election security grant, which was through the state.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then the other one is revenues that we got in
Good
for
job.
those grant and other things. Okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. Comptroller Shepard, Comptroller's Office, Budget Amendment.
Council Chair for discussion.
Okay,
I
Councilwoman Breyer.
make a motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the Comptroller's Office budget as outlined in 9G. From account 101-223-962.000, the name of that account is training. Current budget is $1,000. The requested amount is $10,000. So the amended budget would be $11,000. And then there's a note somewhere. Oh, and it means per contractual fringe benefit policy for tuition reimbursement.
Where'd you get that letter from?
Because you got a one over here and you got a one over here.
This is a note, and that's the
That's a
footnote.
note. The footnote. All right, then the next item, from account 101-223-709.000, which is overtime, there is no current budget. They're requesting $1,000, so the amended budget would be $1,000. And then from account 101-223-706.000, salaries. The current budget is $415,929. The requested amount is minus $1,000. So we come out to $414,929. And then from account 101-000-699-00, the application from, or I think it's being taken from fund balance, the requested amount is $10,000.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by who was it? Councilman Constant. Any discussion? Seeing none, $10,000 for, from the fund balance. All in favor, please state aye.
I think we just amended, Council Chair, it's only 1,000 for the training and 1,000 for the overtime. But we did amend the salaries, we took the salaries down by 1,000, so basically we're just amending for 1,000.
No.
Right now.
10,000.
For 10,000.
10,000 there too.
$10,000 right here, look. We came in here, amending budget for 1,000, but we're going up to 10.
Oh, you're right.
So we're going up to $11,000, but then we lowered the salary from 1,000, so really you're only using a $10,000 amendment. There's a $10,000 from the, and it's coming from the fund balance. And I think, you know, Comptroller Shepard for letting us know that it's coming from there. The original amendment is $11,000.
Right.
We're lowering $1,000 from the employment, and then we're asking for $10,000 from the fund balance. And this is for training.
Actually, I think it's for tuition
It's for all
reimbursement
those
for the Comptroller, for her contract.
She's got her hand.
What's that? Yeah, she has her
Yep,
hand.
Shannon?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify that if you're correct. So the 10,000 is from the employment contract for tuition reimbursement. And then the 1,000 from, I'm just moving from salaries to overtime. So there's a net zero effect between those two accounts. And then the 10,000 is being requested from fund balance because when the budget was created this past year, obviously no one knew that I would be taking advantage of that policy to get tuition reimbursement. So, you know, had that been known, it would have been presented in the budget. But the reason I'm asking for an amendment is because it wasn't allocated at that time.
Thank you. Rightfully so, her contract says that's her contract. I mean, I guess we gotta take a look at that contract. You ever see it?
Council Chair,
Councilman
I
Wenzel?
don't think we.
is this money for tuition reimbursement already been paid by the employees by themselves, or?
Yeah.
That-
They're getting
Correct.
They've already, they turned in bills for this?
reimbursed. It's not on, can you turn it on?
a B or above.
You're above.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. Oh, it is working.
Yeah.
So it's exactly 10,000.
I don't know what the specific, I can open it. Sorry.
It's in the backup, and it's,
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying it's exactly.
What she's requesting is 10,000, but I don't believe there's a specific
But there wasn't
amount
a
that's
cut.
set in the fringe benefits.
and we have a ruling, and it's nothing against Shannon. I believe this was when the former police chief was here. We let him know it had to be a written request approved by council before the classes started. So that was the rule, that's the ruling on that.
So that is not in our fringe benefit policies. So that was a request that council put, but it is not an actual policy that is in place in the organization. And
I think it's always been the rule for non-public.
I was going to say something, I'm going to ask you about that.
Take the class, and as long as they pass, they get a.
Refund.
That was, my letters, I think Ruth
Hang on, please go
Canfield.
to the council chair, please.
I'm
The
sorry, speaking
the
to you.
councilman is still on there, so let's hold off for a second.
You want me to respond? to it?
No,
Wait till
please
you
don't.
say it.
And Councilman Constant as well, please go through the chair. Thank you. Councilman Munson, are you done, or?
I was waiting, you said that these benefits are for all elected officials,
elected and non-union.
so we have that benefit as.
Yeah.
as council.
I'm Barry with the
Correct.
school from being on city council.
I don't know if it applies for non-full-time employees, but it does apply for,
It is.
for the clerk and the
I'm Barry-
treasurer.
I'm Barry, went to school here. Got an associate's degree on behalf of the city of Dearborn Heights. Great for him.
Okay.
Amazing.
But yeah, that question has never come up to me, and I'm not sure. It says elected officials and non-union employees in the policy itself.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Council Chair.
Are you all set?
Yep.
Thank you. Councilman Constant,
I'm all set.
all right?
Yeah, Council Chair?
Yes.
No disrespect to you. I did look at the letters from 2003, and Councilman Constant is correct, with Ruth Canfield actually passed it and opened it up to the city employees, and it was a nice diatribe about why it's important to educate our employees and our staff.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I will say, I'm all for supporting education, 100%. I think it's very, very important. It's a pivotal thing in society to be well-educated and well-versed and well-rounded. The reality is, I think when Ruth Canfield was doing this, I believe she was doing this because our employment wages were beyond low. I can promise you in 2000, nobody was making $85,000, $90,000, or $100,000 from the city. So they said, go to school, get a couple of credits, which credits were probably half the price. So that's something that the city also has to look into. For the sake, and look, tough decisions have to be made. The city is moving in a direction where it's very expensive. But now we're put in a position, you here have a contractual obligation, which we've never seen. It says, if somebody goes to school that's a director, the city has to pay for it. We're not saying no. We're also saying the city doesn't got the money to afford to do that. I mean, this is the reality, and this is the hand that we were dealt. You pay it, you have no money. You take it from your fund balance. You don't pay it, you put yourself in a situation where you can be sued. What do you do? And really, I hate that it came down to right towards the end of the year, while the discussion has been, we know, I think I just had the conversation with Councilman Wenzel. We know we're in a very tough position. And what do we do? Councilman Wenzel was like, don't pay any more bills for the rest of the year. I told him, no, we have contractual obligations. That's not a solution. It sounds great. And he's kind of right. Let's put a halt on everything, just say, stop. What is happening? What can we afford? What can we not? How do we, allow things to go in? How do we allow things to go in? This here is supposedly, it's in the contract.
Council Chair?
Yep.
I know it's a tough decision, but either we need to approve everything or not approve anything, because it all has contract too, so.
Council
I mean, it is a tough decision, but
Yep, Councilman, are you done here, Councilman?
also, I think.
Councilman Constant.
I remember we discussed many times about hiring from within, and I think it's it's not a lot of money, and I think it's a big advantage. I think
Councilman, but we're
it has
so
to be
limited
looked
on
at.
our funds. Well, then if you say, wouldn't you finally say, we can't afford this anymore? When do we finally say it? Because if you say yes to this, then how are you going to say no to the remaining?
Because this helps the department operate better.
The department, we're blessed that we have Shannon, to be honest, and so the department's moving in a great direction. But rightfully so, Shannon is feeling, when she took this class, the city's going to reimburse me like they have in the past for other people. I don't know. I'd love to hear somebody else's opinion on this. If not, we could take this to a vote.
Council Chair.
Councilman?
Well, maybe if we can start cutting from the departments, if there's money available other places in the department, we can cover that. But like Council Pro Tem said, that, I'm completely against borrowing money from the fund balance completely. We gave a balanced budget. It was a balanced budget that we approved. Whatever the administration, how recklessly they were with spending and pretty much baiting us into approving things that they never said was into fund balance. That's something they got to deal with. But for me, it's a tough decision, but you also got to remember you represent 67,000 residents and their tax dollars.
Sure.
Council Chair.
Yes, sir, Councilman.
I don't have the budget in front of me, but was there a training part in the budget for this department? A balance for training?
I think it was.
Nothing?
brought down to-
It was
there
$1,000.
It was
$1,000.
And I know we talked about anytime someone goes into a class, they should get approval from city council. We talked about that with the
Yeah.
police and something that happened like about a year ago. I can't remember which one it was. Other things coming up, are they under contractual situations there too?
No, we're about to find out. All right, well, let's take this to a
Council
vote.
Chair.
Yes, Councilman.
And one other thing quickly, the employee takes a risk. If they take the class and they don't pass, they eat the bill. So she took the class, she passed.
You know another thing that can happen here, the administration, find a way to amend other budgets, to cut fat from other places,
Yes.
and potentially find the money for it.
That's what I'm saying.
Chair,
Yes.
do we have the backup for these classes? It should be in our agenda, the backup.
It wasn't in the backup, I mean.
I looked too, it's not there.
It wasn't there.
And usually we require the backup before we approve stuff like
Yeah.
this.
I think there's some misinformation still that we still need, and I don't think that this is on Shannon specifically.
No.
This is, I think, us just kind of making a decision.
Well, we asked for backup on everything else, we might as well ask for
Yeah.
backup on this.
Well, no, there's a vote on the table to either approve it or deny it.
Can we refer it back for backup?
Okay, we can refer this back to we can refer it back to the administration for a proper backup.
All right,
If Councilwoman Breyer wants to amend that motion, seconded by
Yes.
Councilman Constant.
yes.
Councilman Constant, can you second that?
That's fine.
All right, refer this back, get the proper backups, and send it back to send it back to us, the next city councilman. All in favor, please state aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. That was a very sensitive topic. Next up is DPW Director Dancy, DPW Highway Budget Amendment. Somebody, anybody,
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the DPW highway budget as outlined in 9-H 101, account number 101-440-709-000, overtime. Current budget, 100,000, requested amount, 155,000. Amendment budget would be 255,000. Account number 101-440-820-000. Account name, tree removal. Current budget, 140,000. Requested amount, 30,000. Amended budget, 170,000. Account number 101-000-699-000. Account name, app from fund balance.
Applied from.
Applied from fund balance. Current budget is none. Requested amount would be 185,000. Requested by Director Dancy.
This is another thing, like, we are put in a position where trees are going to be, residents are gonna call all of us. The trees are gonna be, brought down and overtime is gonna be asked. Here we're asking for $185,000 from the fund balance. Finally, we're being told it's coming from the fund balance because up until last week, we never knew that it was coming out of the fund balance.
Council Chair, did we get a second on that one?
No.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad,
Okay, sorry.
seconded by
Second.
Councilman Wenzel. Any discussion?
Council Chair,
Councilman?
you know, I was out yesterday driving around and I seen the highway department fixing all the potholes that everyone's complaining about. And I was talking to them and they said,
You told him to get out of the way. I was on the
Yeah.
phone with you.
He says, unfortunately, come, quitting time, whatever, 3:30, whatever, they gotta go home. In the past, they did their job and had overtime, they did their job and finished it. And we have so many, I don't think there's anyone up here that didn't get a complaint about potholes, or everybody's, or I don't think anyone here has not hit a pothole in the city driving around. This is pretty tough, and I think this is something that, I'm in favor of this. I mean, this is something that's, it's right out there, it's physical, it's something that everyone encounters every day, and it's, you can open yourself up for lawsuits. Once a complaint's made about a pothole, it's registered, and someone hits that pothole and does damage to their car, the city's open for a lawsuit because it wasn't repaired. So this is one I'm in favor of. I don't know, we'll look at the rest of them, but I think the DPW department, they do a fantastic job. They're the unsung heroes in our city, and we give them whatever we can.
You want to use $185,000 from the fund balance?
I will,
Okay. Let me ask you a question.
What?
Are you gonna be able to say no to $400,000 for the police because you can't leave people?
Depends on what
without
that is.
police? Right now.
Yeah, I know, the overtime, but
That's our protection.
Can we do $250,000 for the fire department?
well, we've got to, we've got to come up, we got to pay these people. I don't know how we come up with the money. If we've got it in there, we've got to
But we
take
don't.
care
We're
of
using
it.
our fund balance, which is at 8%.
Yeah.
And then what's gonna happen is when the fund balance goes through like Act 345 money, which is restricted funds, which has also in your fund balance and it has to be at 4 million. Once you fly through this remaining, they're gonna say, well, you guys approved it.
Well, I'll tell you, that's.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
We have to have this stuff. You promised residents you're gonna give them city services. I wholeheartedly agree.
Let's have the administration figure it out, how to get the money.
But they're not, they did. They're telling you we're gonna take it from the fund balance.
I know, but past that, how it's gonna work, how they're gonna work it out.
Hang on, let the councilman finish.
Our job is to approve all these things, and we don't have the sole responsibility of all the money. We vote on it, yes or no. But it's up to other departments and administration to come to us with ideas they have to solve these problems.
I'm 100% in agreement with you. I wanna see the councilman, if that's okay. I'm in agreement with you. Let's just keep this in mind. $185,000, they didn't give us a solution. They said we're gonna take it from our rainy day fund. That's what the administration is telling us. They didn't give you a solution. They didn't, and you're right. Every single one of us here are getting phone calls about potholes. Every single one of us.
Council Chair?
I'm good for now. I'll listen to everyone else. I'll listen. I'll listen to.
Well, it's Councilman Saab next.
Yeah, I'll listen to the rest of them.
Okay, are you all set?
Yes.
Thank you.
Council
Councilman Saab.
Chair, I go back again to, we passed a balanced budget. All these extra positions that created were not part of the budget. We made all these cuts to balance a budget. The city almost shut down, and now here we are, you're trying to tell me, let's approve $1.8 million from the rainy fund. What solution? We're just bleeding money. Council Pro Tem, I'm sorry. We're bleeding money. So you're gonna approve one, you're saying it's important, but not the other. The others are much more important than this, to be honest with you. I'm not saying that any department is not important, but you also have to be physically responsible and financially responsible. That we gave the administration a balanced budget. Now we found out that we've been approving contracts from the fund balance that was never mentioned from the fund balance. And once you approve it, and we come back and say, the only thing Mariana said to us last week was, well, you approved it. And you're okay with that.
Council Chair, can't we eliminate the pay?
Hang on one second. Hang on one second.
So my thing is that when you look down, you go under your 8%, and just like Council Chair said, you start waging money from Act 345 and all that. Then when we get to that point, then what are we gonna say? Oh, the overtime that we start to give people, now we're affecting every other employee in the city, and every retiree. That's you got to think about it in the long run, where you were elected to be responsible, physically responsible on behalf of the residents. And they came this and they're telling you, here, vote on it, but they're not coming with a solution. Is there money that they can trim out other places in the city? Just like we did when we sat here for a month, almost month and a half with the budget. We trimmed down everything, but it was a balanced budget.
It was a surplus,
Yeah, actually, it was a surplus of what,
300,000.
where's that money?
Council Chair?
Thank you.
I'm gonna go to.
I'm just responding.
Okay, you want to respond? Is that okay, Councilwoman Breyer?
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, it's our responsibility too to come up with a plan. I mean, maybe these positions that we feel were illegally or not, were created not with our approval.
Let's be careful, there's a federal injunction against.
I know, but I mean, maybe we can just vote on eliminating that pay from the rest of the year.
We did, that's why we're in court.
I mean, on different positions too. I mean, anything else.
Like what?
I don't know. I mean, that's what we have to look into. I mean, we can't just put it all on administration. It's our responsibility too, to not just to say no. We should come up with a plan too, that we could give the administration.
Council Chair.
I have no idea what it is, but I mean, we could put our heads together or look for, outside information, outside ideas.
I will tell you though, and this is not me taking a shot at the administration, our tree removal was at $70,000 at the budget. I didn't allow us to go into there with a $70,000 tree trimming. Remember, I had the back and forth with the former director. We moved it up to 140, and now we're taking it up an additional 30, which is a good thing. That means we're out doing work. The reality is, the former DPW director said, Mo, we're not gonna need $70,000. And I said, we're gonna go to 140, and we doubled it. We went from 70,000 to 140, now we're going up to 170. We're adding an additional $30,000. I mean, $100,000 to get us to, look, you need to have overtime. You need to allow DPW to go out and do their job. You're gonna need overtime for the police department. You're gonna need overtime for the fire department. We can't tell our city no. Truth is, the administration needs to make some certain decisions instead of saying, well, we're just gonna use the fund balance. Because that's not the solution.
Council Chair? May I?
I'm just gonna say one last thing, and then we're gonna go to Councilwoman Breyer, but the truth is, how many lawsuits are we in? How much money do we have in lawsuits? Take the $2 million in lawsuits that we've had, the 250 settlements here, settlements there, settlements here. Take all that settlement, put it in here, you got overtime for every department. That's where your solution is. That's where you're bleeding and hemorrhaging from. Councilwoman Breyer.
I see it doesn't include the water main breaks too, because we're in real trouble with that.
That's a water fund.
Yeah, but it's the same department. Mr. Dancy has all those headaches. So I have a couple possibilities where we could make money, but I was waiting until the end of the meeting when it's our turn to talk about them.
To make money?
Yes.
I love that. Let's come up with it.
All right. I was doing a lot of research the last week or so, and I'm suggesting that, like Warren is voting on distilleries for the gummies and all that kind of stuff, making money. We don't have it in our city. It's legal now. We could make a lot of money.
Make what gummies?
If we allowed
Dispensaries.
the dispensary items, have our own. Well, yeah, but they're going to other cities
from
who are
the
making
audience.
money. We're not. It's a possibility, and it would bring some in. And another possibility is, and for our area that we already own near Inkster and Van Born, the front end, almost 200 feet of the old Cinery site, we could do farm markets. And at
I
that
believe
site,
Councilman Wenzel's working on that.
yeah, and well, I am too, with our city engineer. And he locks the other part of it. That area would be open and we could have vendors and make some
I love
funds.
that idea,
So that's a possibility.
but I don't know if it's gonna get us $100,000 in a month.
Well, it'll get us something.
How big is it?
Over 200-foot frontage that's usable for a farmer's market.
That's a good idea. Are you all set? I'm
Way
sorry.
over 200.
Yes.
Councilman,
Thank you, Council
Ahmad.
Chair. I just wanted to point again, the sheet that was given by the treasurer, if you look at it at the bottom, by June, our fund balance would be 1,599. That's with no amendment. So if you pay money today, it will be less than zero by June, like no money in the city.
No, you'll be in the negative.
In a negative.
Well, hold on, if we give this, you're saying here,
This is without paying anybody, without no amendments, we're gonna be at 1,599 by June.
1.5, 1.6.
1.6 by June. This is with paying nothing, not amending anything. So imagine if we pay today, we're going to be in the negative by June.
We don't have a million on the table today. A million.
We took it
I mean,
overall.
on these things here, do we?
Yeah,
1.6 million.
1.7.
No, I mean,
So we'll be in the negatives if
on the
we,
agenda tonight?
1.7.
1.7 total?
Yeah, we split them. We split all the motions separately. If you add them all together, it's about 1.7.
but we only have 1.5 to use. I mean, listen, we're gonna have to take this up for a vote, at the end of the day.
Council Chair, take them for a vote.
And again, these are tough decisions. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Really isn't. You know, we want our roads to be fixed. Can we get it, can you finish by 3:30? Sure you can. There's a water main break happening in the middle of the night. Nobody's coming out until the morning.
Overtime.
There's no overtime. Maybe we can amend it so we can say, we can do 25,000 instead of 100, get us somewhere, you know? I
Take
don't-
away from the trees.
All right, let's just take this to a vote. Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Wenzel. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
No.
See?
Clerk?
Tom Wenzel,
Yes.
Hassan Saab,
No.
Nancy Breyer,
No,
Robert Constant,
Yes.
Denise Malinowski Maxwell,
No.
Hassan Ahmad,
No.
Mo Meja.
No?
Motion fails.
And this-
2-4.
These are tough decisions.
it's tough.
It really is. Like, I mean, I'd love the administration to come back and say, hey, we're able to find certain monies in a different way,
2-5.
you know? We can't operate in a deficit, guys. Next up is DPW Director Dancy and Major Street Budget Amendment.
Council Chair.
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the major streets budget as outlined in 9I, account number 202-202-880-700. Tran local, current budget is $2,500,000. Requested budget is $150,000. Amended budget is $2,650,000. It was, one received more than what we budgeted for, therefore the transfer to local roads is, needs to be increased.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Saab, seconded by Councilman Constant.
Council Chair, what do you mean by received more than we budgeted for, therefore received,
So this is coming from Act 59 money,
okay?
money for major street and roads. And so if we assumed that they were gonna get 2.5, we end up getting 2.650. So we got an additional $150,000. So so receiving more than what you budgeted for, therefore the transfer to local. So we're asking to just approve the increase of that, local needs of increase.
Okay, so this
So
is not coming,
this is state money,
so it's not coming from the fund balance.
nothing. This is okay to approve. Motion made by Councilman Saab, seconded by Councilman Constant. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We just received, we're $150,000 richer now.
Let's
All right.
transfer that money.
That's from the state, that's state roads, major and local street repairs. Next up is DPW Director Dancy, Water and Sewer Budget Amendment. Good luck, whoever's reading this one.
Council Chair.
Councilwoman Breyer.
Ahmad and I get the long ones. Okay, I make a motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the water and sewer budget as outlined in 9J. From account 592-537-981.100, the name of the account is a 2024 CWSRF project cost. The requested amount is $4,460,974.70. The amended budget, it's equal.
It's equal across the entire board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's a note.
Read all four notes, please.
You want the vote, the note to go with the item I'm discussing?
Well, I want you to read the 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. All right, then I'll read, from account 592-537-981-200, from the DWSRF
No,
water
no, no,
meter
no,
replacement.
I'm sorry, you just gotta read the footnotes.
Well, that's what I was
Yeah,
asking.
because there's the current budget is
All right.
requested in the same.
Okay, so back to the first one, the project cost. The note says bid already approved in motion 24-222. This is to amend the budget for that amount. This amount won't be fully spent this year. Remainder will carry over to next year. Okay. Then on 2, we have the account number 592-537-981-200, the DWRF water meter replacement, requested amount. Oh, God, we should have done it before. $13,781.87. The amended budget reads the same. And number 2 motion footnote is bid already approved. This is to amend the budget for expenditures. Amount won't be fully spent in fiscal year 25 and will carry forward. Now, item 3 is 592-537-981.201, and that's the DWSRF water main. And the requested amount is $16,359,115.40. The amended budget remains the same. The footnote, motions 24-316 and 24-514, bid already approved. This is to amend budget for expenditures. Amount won't be fully spent in fiscal year 25, will carry forward. The final one, account number 592-537-981.202, DWSRF lead pipe replacement. And that requested amount is $13,702,688.29. The amended budget is the same. The footnote is that from motion 24315, the bid was already approved. This is to amend budget for expenditures. Amount won't be fully spent in fiscal year 25 and will carry forward.
Support.
Okay.
Motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Sorry, my alarm went off. It was supposed to be at 7:30 in the morning, not at 7:20. I'm saying why I overslept today.
You get up at 7? Wow, that's sleeping in.
Hey, it's Ramadan too, all right? We're up until 3, 4 in the
They're up
morning.
at
I go to sleep at 7.
Yeah. All in favor,
Council
any
Chair.
discussion on this?
Well, basically, Council Chair, we're not getting any money from the fund balance here. We're just moving money from the water funds to the.
Things that we've already approved for,
Correct.
already budgeted
100%,
for.
yeah.
Correct. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. Next up is the fun stuff. You guys ready for this stuff?
More long ones? Oh, my God.
Here we go.
Why don't we just say is outlined in 9K?
9K Fire Chief Brogan, Fire Department Budget Amendment. Chief Brogan's like sitting there staring at us. Who's gonna read this one?
I can do it again.
All right.
All right. The motion is that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the fire department budget as outlined in 9K. From account 101-335-706.000, which is salaries, the current budget is $4,490,512. The requested amount is $337,885, which makes the amended budget $4,828,397. And our footnote is per CBA, is that council something? Motion 24-348, the budget accounted for a 10% increase, but there was actually a 17% increase. All right, item 2, account number 101-335-726.000, fringe benefits. Current budget is $433,885. The requested amount is $25,849, bringing the amended budget to $459,734. Footnote is the same as the last one. Instead of a 10% increase, there was 17. Item 3, account 101-335-981.000, capital outlay. There is no current budget. The requested amount is now $22,500, so that would be the amended budget. And the footnote is environmental cleanup for 2 fire stations and a gear rack. All right, and we are at item 4, 101-335-962.000, training. Current budget is $40,000. Good news, requested amount is take away $2,500, which takes the amended budget down to $37,500, and that's the same footnote. It's cleanup for 2 fire stations and gear rack. 5 is budget number 101-335-709.000, overtime. The current budget is $714,000, and the requested amount is $300,000, making the amended budget $1,014,000, and our footnote is injuries and slower than anticipated hiring. That's being changed, isn't it?
Chief Brogan,
You want to talk now, or you want the last item thrown in here?
just continue to read on it.
All right, the last one is account number 101-000-699.000, and that's applied from fund balance. There is no current budget, and our requested amount is $683,734. Again, injuries and slower than anticipated hiring. You're up.
Yep. So obviously, the big number there is.
Motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by
Second.
Councilman Constant. Any discussions? Yep, go ahead.
So the biggest number, I mean, the first two lines, so you see this, when they say the CBA, that's our contract, the collective bargaining agreement. And so when the budget was submitted, I think it hadn't been finalized yet, and I think they made a guess at what the raises were going to be. If I remember right, I'm trying to remember why this is, why they put 10% and it was actually a 17% raise. But that's where that came in. The overtime is the other big one, and that is because we were trying to get the hiring done. I thought we were going to have them in the door when we submitted the budget. It certainly looked that way, and then there've been some delays. We're now down. We would be down one, but we had someone retire kind of unexpectedly, and now we're down two positions. Those offers have been made and accepted, and so they're in the hiring process, and hopefully those last two will be in the door here shortly. We've taken the time that for the new firefighters to get to manpower status, and we've compressed it. I've talked to other departments around and saw kind of what the standard was, and we're trying to, in a safe manner, get them where they're counted as full staffing sooner, so we can cut this overtime as quickly as we can. We're taking every steps we can. I know the budget for next year is going to be much improved. It's going to be cut by 50%, I would say, the overtime budget. So there is a solution in place. We just have to, ride out this last little bit. We're so close. We're almost there. And this is the overtime is also contractual obligations. We're just doing to staff the trucks to a minimum level, and we have. If we have to close down a squad, it's going to be, felt almost immediately. We have one squad in the north end that's staffed, and one squad in the south end, and two squads in the north end. The south end squad does about 9 runs a day. The south end squads do about 8 runs a day, so that's 16 runs in the north end on its own. And that's where we'd have to cut one of those squads. One squad can't handle 16 runs a day. The south end will be coming up to try to pick up the slack. They're doing 9 runs a day already. We'd be missing runs left and right. The engines would be running all over trying to make up the difference. We'd be calling mutual aid. We can only call them so many times. There will be delays in service, and then and it would break the contract. There'd be an immediate grievance, and we'd end up stuck in the position of staffing these positions, so it's operationally necessary, contractually necessary, and the good news is that we do have a solution, and we're almost there. I just ask for you to hold on with us for just a little bit longer until we get there.
I had a conversation with Chief Brogan. I gave him a call and I gave him an earful a little bit.
Yes, you did.
I apologize.
No, I understand. I understand the position you guys are in, and I wish, had I known this, I would have given you a bigger number at the beginning of the year, and it would have been something you could work with, but it just took longer. It's, when I do this budget, it's a guess. I'm making the guess for next year now, if you think of it. We're submitting our budgets now. It won't even start till July, and we're looking till the next July, so we're hoping, our staffing levels should be good by then, but. No.
And I just want to add that we here on the council have said we want to make sure that the conditions of these fire stations are brought up.
Yeah.
So that is important to me. But I'll tell you, like I said, for the rest, overtime, contractual obligations or not, that's on you as the director, as the chief, to hold those things, and those responsibilities. And I had that conversation with you, and you know how I feel about you, the world's greatest fire chief, the world's greatest chief in the world.
I appreciate that. I understand, and I do understand your position. But if we got these guys in the door sooner, then the estimate of overtime the budget line I gave you would have been correct.
What took you guys so long?
The process.
I felt like it was 3 years.
Yeah, once we got the contract signed, then that's when we got a good number of applicants, but they can only bring in so many at one time. And so they're trying to get them through the door, and there's the background process and the physical, psychological, and they just have to get through these steps. I wish we could have brought them all in at one time. It's just proven to be a challenge. So,
Any other discussion?
Council Chair,
Councilman?
weren't we budgeted for the maximum amount of firefighters?
So traditionally, we've always been budgeted for that amount, and when we submitted this time, we said that we would adjust to make sure that we got there, but for the budget that was submitted, they didn't initially have all those positions filled in there, even though they said we were going to account for them once we got them in the door. So
Was there money that wasn't spent in the budget for ones that we thought we would have?
You know, I'll have to check with a comptroller, but I don't believe that was the case this year.
What was your question, Councilman? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I want to know if we had budgeted for the maximum amount of firefighters.
I believe we did, but I think they may have used it.
Can you give us a quick update on the personnel number now, what we've got?
Sure. We need 54 in suppression. That's where and we have 52, and we have 2 more job offers that are out there that are going. They're going through the process now, and I'm hoping that they're going to be in the door. It's probably going to take 6 weeks to get them in the door. When we hire them, it usually takes. I mean, it could be up to 4 months to get them to the full staffing level. We're trying to compress it down to like they have about a month of 40-hour a week to kind of just get oriented to the. There's a lot of mandatory training that has to get done before, like department-specific training, so they can operate safely. And then they'll need another few weeks, and they should be fully staffed. So we have 3 right now that are not to full staffing, but I expect them to be within the next couple weeks here.
Will you be coming for another amendment once we get these hired?
I hope not. I hope not.
We have the money to pay them, though?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You know, Chief, regardless of which way this sways today, I still want you to bring forward the amendment for the repairs of the fire station. Because like if we're having to use rainy day funds on that, that is something that's mandatory for the, health and wellness and the safety of our firefighters.
Okay.
Men and women. So even if this doesn't move forward, I want to make sure that we have something brought forward that we need to pay for to make sure that the roof and the work at the fire stations for the safety of the firefighters is taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Council Chair,
Yes.
I don't know the answer to this question, that's why I'm asking it. Is there some kind of emergency situation where you can take funds from the water fund? An emergency, because we're way over in our water fund. I mean, we got millions and millions of dollars over. I mean, is there something like emergency situation that we can declare an emergency or?
Well, I will tell you, it's restricted.
Yeah,
I was just having a conversation with Matt Hall, who's the new speaker, and his staff. And, the state has money that it's willing to give. We just have to properly request it. Like, we can legit get $7, $8, $9, $10, $20, $50 million from the state. We just have to put together a program, and then you're not going to have these issues.
Yeah. Can we do that? Can we do it quick? I mean, is that something we can put together as a council, or does it have to come through the administration? Because some parts of government here are dragging their feet, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's all put on us because we're the only ones on TV right now. And we're taking the heat for everything. But Treasurer has her hand up.
Yeah, you can step up to the podium. Please, to the podium.
So to answer your question, Councilman, the city has done this before, okay? They do inter-fund balance loans, okay, where we've borrowed money from the water fund before, but it's contingent upon a plan of paying it back by a certain period with interest, and that's by state law. So the city has done that before. In fact, during 2012, 2013, 14, with economic downturn, that was a thing that we did, that was approved. So we borrowed money from whoever had the extra money to spare for that time, but it was only for a few months.
Let me ask you, will the water bills go up at all?
Well, you have the money now, but some of that is appropriated, quite frankly, for other projects. So we'd have to see what is appropriated, what is truly, and I don't like the word surplus, but there could be revenue available that could possibly, because again, we've borrowed before, like 2 million, different various amounts. It's not the first time. We've borrowed a couple times when I was a city council member. We did that. So it is an option.
Madam Treasurer, can we?
Hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure Councilman Wenzel's done here.
Yeah, I just want to hear everybody else's comments on this.
Okay.
My idea.
Thank you.
Can you come up with a, exact number, what's available from the water fund?
I would work with the comptroller and administration based on appropriations to see what's available out of that money. That, again, there's like 10 million that's invested with Morgan Stanley right now that is restricted, as you mentioned, from the water fund, as well as what's already in the accounts. So I would need to take a look, and we would need to see where we are in appropriations and expenditures, and we're still obligated.
And who sets the interest rate?
I believe that's done by state law. It's a small percent, but basically you're borrowing money and you're paying it back with interest, right? So
You said
it does
over a few
cost,
months, though?
it is costing the taxpayers for us to borrow that money for
What is
ourselves.
it? Okay, but it's not going to increase the water bills.
No, well, it shouldn't. I wouldn't do it otherwise. I would not if it was going to do anything to your water bills. I would never think about increasing water bills. It's a bad idea. All done?
Council Chair, we're gonna go through all these amendments right now, and we don't have the money to pay it. So either we figure out something, or maybe figure out something from the water balance to borrow, or we're just wasting time, because, I don't know if we're gonna table them all for next meeting, see exactly what we have in the water funds, because, I wanna pay everybody, but I don't have the money. I want an Escalade too, but I don't have the money for the Escalade, so. So that's where we stand right now. So we need to figure out something with the administration, whether we, I don't know, either we get the money from the water funds or from somewhere else. We need to pay the firefighters, we need to pay the police department, we need to fix the potholes all over the city. We need to take care of these stuff, but at the same time, we don't have the money. So we're gonna go through this for the next couple hours, and we don't have the money to approve it, because looking at this sheet from the treasurer, we don't have any money by June. So either we pay right now and then we don't have salaries in the next couple of months for everybody, or we need to figure out something, either from the, water balance, or we need to figure out something, I'm not sure.
Council Chair?
Councilman.
Is this something maybe we could, I hate to say these two words, study session, that we can go over each one, have the directors at the study session and have the treasurer there and kind of see if we can work something out?
Oh, we did that last time.
We just had that meeting.
I know, but having them, okay, exactly what do you need?
It did.
Chief Brogan, maybe you can reduce something here or there or something,
We just did that. I think the next study session should be amongst this council here. And you should talk about maybe if we can use money from the water
That's
fund.
what yeah.
Maybe if the mayor wants to come in, really the mayor, not the chief of staff. The mayor, if Bill Bazey, the mayor, the city of Dearborn Heights, I'm not speaking to Roger.
The mayor who is here every day,
Yeah.
5 days a
Yeah,
week, the mayor who answers all the citizens' responses and everything,
Yeah.
that mayor.
Point of order,
I'm just
Roger,
saying,
please. Point of order. I know, you're defending him.
No,
If the
I'm not.
mayor wants to show up and give us a
Just trying to be fair.
solution as well, it'd be greatly appreciated. I'm not badgering the mayor, Roger. I'm saying if the mayor wants to please show up.
Sure.
I'm kindly requesting the mayor's presence to please show up and let us come up with a solution. Because hiding is not the solution.
I don't think hiding is the word, Council Chair. I think
No,
you're
that's the
disrespectful
word I'm
for
gonna
saying
choose
that.
today.
That's why we have a problem with having.
Thank
Council
you.
Chair?
You and Mayor.
Council Chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why the people elected us, not to say yes or no, but to come up with a plan to
Yeah.
make the city run efficiently. So I think it's our obligation as being elected by the residents to come up with a solution to this and not just say no, no, no. I understand why everybody's saying no, but to come up with a plan that we can live with.
Yeah, by the way, I wholeheartedly agree. We're saying no right now because we can't afford to do the fund balance funding. That's what we're saying no to. We're not saying no that we don't want to come up with a plan. And so I want, like, when you say things like they elected us to come up with a plan, you're right. But unfortunately, this information has not been given to us until last meeting, which we did a study session on. And we went to the administration and we said, administration, figure out some types of cuts, maybe some jobs that you didn't need. Come up with certain cuts to figure things out. Because you know who made those decisions? You know who made tough decisions? The late Mayor Dan Palaco made tough decisions. He came back and said, The city's in a very tough situation right now. You know what he did? He made tough decisions. A true leader during tough times makes tough decisions. And so the truth is, you're right. But is it a Band-Aid or is it more of a hemorrhage to come out and say, we're going to use water fund money? Because that's a part-time, maybe it's a part-time solution. Maybe our fire chief and our police chief are going to come back and say, you know, we've been staffed. We don't need that much money. The money that we usually budget for, take it back and put it in. That would be the ultimate goal.
Well, sometimes you have to put a Band-Aid on something before you get to the doctor and have them stitch it up.
We've been hemorrhaging though.
I know, but we got to do something, and we can't just leave everything, just say, let's not pay it, like I was joking with you, not pay anything anymore. These things are very critical, and tough times call for tough measures. I mean, it's if we have to do something, let's see what the treasurer says as she meets with the comptroller.
So are you agreeing to table these until we hear back from the treasurer?
I am, on some of them, there was, yeah, the Parks and Recreation one, there was an issue I had with that. I mean, I think that money was already approved. The Parks and Recreation, the budget amendment, that money was already approved by city council.
Well, we're going to go through.
That's what I'm saying, and you said this, table them all, but.
So we have a motion on the table for the fire department right now. Yes.
So I just want to rebut to Councilman Winslow. So the problem is, Councilman, just like when you have a credit card, you have a limit. When you try to charge on that credit card and when you go over your limit, it declines, right? The only way to make that possible for you to use that credit card is to increase the limit. So what you're referring to is saying, oh, let's see an option B if we have an option. If not, we're going to put it and raise the taxes on the resident. Is that what you want?
I'm just coming up with a plan, suggesting something.
Right.
You know, instead of saying,
But my
no,
question is, instead of giving relief to the residents, we're just bleeding money that we don't have and putting it on the back of the residents. Yes, the residents elected us to make tough decisions, but also decisions in the best interest of the residents and city. I know you care so much about DPW, and I think they're a phenomenal group of guys. And I'm not referring to that, and I'm not trying to bash that department. I think those guys do a phenomenal job. The thing is that we don't have the money. I wish I could give them $10 million. We don't have the money. But the only way to get money is a couple options. One is to get a loan. We're going to pay interest on, and you got to figure out how you're going to get it back. Two is higher taxes on residents, which I'm completely against. Three, unless you pray for a miracle, that tell me where this money could come from right now, and I won't say no to you. But we, again, when it came to budget season, Councilman, we gave the administration a balanced budget. We trimmed it down, and we actually had a surplus. All these positions that were created, these contracts that went under the rug by being misrepresented to us where the money was coming from, this is what led us. But now you're saying that, well, they made those decisions, but now we're responsible. I agree with you, we're responsible to make the decision, but unfortunately, you're also elected to make tough decisions.
Guys, we have a motion on the table.
And come up with ideas too, so I mean.
Yeah, we need to come up with some ideas, and I think you came up with a good one.
Yeah.
You know, instead of going to a bond or something like that.
Something, I mean, let's go outside the envelope here a little bit and think.
In the past, what the former treasurer did is it's interfund borrowing. We have a surplus of cash and water, and then the money's paid back. There's interest paid, but it's not interest, it's not any additional money. The money goes back out of the water fund to the other fund with a small amount of interest. So it's just balancing cash flow. The former treasurer would just do it and tell us he was doing it.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this one? And really, I think these should all be tabled. I don't want to deny them. So if Councilwoman Breyer is willing to amend her motion to table this.
I really prefer that we make the exception and use the rainy day money for the fire department.
Well, yeah, we have to see what we have first before so that's why I'm saying table it. Let's not deny this.
No, I don't want to deny it.
So are you willing to table it?
Table.
Will you amend your motion to table this?
Yeah,
Refer back to administration, I'm sorry.
yeah, refer back.
Councilman Constant, do you second that?
Yes.
Motion made by Councilwoman Breyer to refer this back to administration, seconded by Councilman Constant. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. I mean, I would like to see that we could go through them, but I'm not going to ask you to read all of these. Let's just read the IT Director Cooper IT
Council
budget
Chair.
amendment. Just tell me what the amount is on the bottom.
Council Chair,
Councilman
I'd
Ahmad.
like to make a motion to refer 9L, which is to approve the following amendment to the IT department budget as outlined in 9-L,
In the amount of $205,000
$205,000
from the,
Windstream contract license for the Windstream contract increase.
okay, and this is regarding from the fund balance
Correct, coming from the fund balance.
to table this.
Correct.
Second.
Refer back to the administration.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion? Again, while we're in the discussion here, we're not saying no, we're not denying you. I know you're putting your hands up. We're trying to figure out where we're gonna get the money from. That's what we're doing. We're gonna look at, the fund balance is not the solution. And if the administration feels otherwise, they can put it in writing for us why they feel otherwise. But if they think depleting our rainy day money is the solution, have them tell us that as well. I think Councilman Wenzel brought this idea up, and, we can entertain it. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up is 9M, Ordinance Enforcement and Animal Control for Director LaFeeve, Ordinance Budget Amendment.
Council Chair,
Councilman,
I'd like to move to refer 9M back to the administration. Budget amendment from capital outlay requested $13,827.29, and coming from the fund balance, $13,827.29.
Second.
again, we're not denying anybody. We're saying to the next meeting, we want to hear, we want to see what's happening, and we'll bring it back before us.
This was already paid by the insurance company though, sir.
This is from what?
This was paid by the insurance company. We've got a check for $22,000 to pay off this car.
Yeah.
And they've already paid the money
Yes,
to pay
speak.
off this
Oh,
car.
okay.
That's the car that was
Yeah.
totaled.
I mean, that's,
Okay, we can, because
Well,
it
why
says
is it
here
coming out of the
from the
fund
fund
balance?
balance, but yeah, we could do that.
Why is it coming out of the fund balance?
because the check was put into there. It was $22,000 to pay off this escape, and the escape payoff's like $11,000. So there's
Understood.
actually extra money that's sitting in that account.
But
then-
see, you got to remember something. Hang on, Mariana, please. What we don't have here is a backup for that, explaining that.
I get that.
Yeah.
Right there.
No, but there's no backup information with it. You're writing it in a footnote, which is thank you, but you got to give us the backup. This is where the check came in. Give us the backup so that we see this.
Right.
Just give us the proper information. That's all. Thank you.
Can I amend my motion? Council Chair, I'd like to move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the ordinance budget as outlined in 9M. Account number 101-426-981-000, capital outlay, requested amount $13,827.29, amendment budget $13,827.29. Account number 101-000-699-000, applied from fund balance $13,827.29. Eco truck outfitting purchase approved in fiscal year '24. About $2,500 was remaining from the prior year budget that was not added in the current budget, and it was paid for in fiscal year '25. Motion 25-051 approved the purchase payoff $10,969.29 of a 2022 Ford Escape that was totaled. This money was reimbursed by MMRMA in the amount of $22,000 in revenue account MMRMA reimbursement GL 101-000-676-911.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion? Thank you for explaining that, Mr. LaFeeve. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Real quickly, Treasurer, maybe Councilman Constant, were you saying that if we borrowed the money, we would have to pay interest? If, I
That is
think Councilman
correct.
Constant used
It's
to.
called interfund borrowing.
That's correct. It's called an interloan. We've done it before. Okay, the council, I was on council when it was approved. It always is brought before the council from former Treasurer Riley, it would come from me as well, asking for your approval. It has to be paid back typically within 6 months or less. So it comes out of your summer tax revenue. You pay it back. Normally, we paid it back by September, and that is with interest. That is correct. It is low interest, but it's still
You
interest
said the
nonetheless.
state has to tell us how much we have to give back with the interest?
I believe so. I would need to research that to get that percentage
Give me
that we're talking about. I've got several notes on this discussion of things that I want to do and work with the comptroller and the administration. One, to see, one, what we're asking for, we already know from budget amendments, but also take a look. Water fund is most likely the one that we could borrow from. And let's take a look what's not appropriate, what truly is available, so you, as an honorable body, knows what's available, and I'll get an answer from the state as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry I asked that question. I know, I'm thinking about, you have something?
I happened to be in the treasurer's office and did those paperworks when that happened. Okay, and I did look up the council motion from 2011, and at that time, it was 10.5 million. 7 came from water, major $1 million, local $1 million, and 1.5 million from library. It was 0.25 per. And then between the funds listed below, which I just told you, and the general fund at the maximum loan amounts. And then the intent being all of the above loans shall be repaid by the general fund on or before August 31st, 2011, per Treasurer Riley. But that's just for cash flow, right? You still have to find the money. I mean, it's a loan.
That's the thing. What if
It's a loan.
Which more are we going to dig ourselves?
Interfund transfer.
Is there any type of percentage that we have to pay back with it, or no? 0.25?
Yeah.
Which is nothing.
But that was in 2011.
But this was in 2011, so that was 13, 14 years ago.
0.26 now.
I don't know what it would be now.
Thank you so much.
Okay, but that kind of gives you an idea. Yes, it has been done, and it is.
Okay, next up, we have Parks and Recreation Director Zabansky.
Zabaznik.
It's called Mr.
Zabaznik. I gotta say Zabaznik.
Yeah.
Zabaznik, Venegas. Zabaznik. Parks and Recreation Director Zabaznik, Parks and Recreation Budget Amendment.
Yes, so we have, we have a playset that was installed, a new playset at Waddell Park. It was all installed, it's all.
Let us have just a quick,
Okay.
The motion?
let me read the motion before we have the discussion.
Oh, okay.
Council Chair, make the move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the DPW, no. Did I miss?
Oh, yeah, it says
Highway budget.
DPW,
Yeah,
highway budget as outlined in 9.7.
nine-
That's a typo.
but it says DPW.
Oh, yeah, you're reading what's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Should have said Parks and Recreation. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Parks and Recreation budget.
Council Chair, I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the Parks and Recreation budget as outlined in 9-N. Account number 101-691-981-000, capital outlay, requested amount $85,828.40. Account number 101-000-699-000, applied from fund balance $85,824.40. Account number 101-000-684-700, reimbursed county parks, requested amount $163,031.00. Per motions 24-326, 24-327, and 24-345.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussions?
Council Chair, I think the director want to speak on a couple of the issues.
Go ahead.
I guess on my checklist, there's things I'm trying to clear up so I can move forward and get past. These are older things that were obviously before I was here. The first one was for the playscapes that were installed at Waddell Park. It was all installed by the company. They called me and they asked, why isn't it paid? They did their work. It was satisfactory. So I guess that's kind of where I'm at this point is, why can't we pay the company for what we approved? And we rely heavily on these companies for spare parts for all of our parks, for a lot of the play sets. So when I call them, it's like, I'm sorry, you owe us money, so I can't give you the parts to fix your other playscapes. And unfortunately, it isn't items I can buy from Home Depot. And then, of course, the second one is for the wood fiber that was also placed at the Waddell Park for the surface. So those two items, I guess I just have a hard time trying to explain to them why we ordered something and we didn't pay for it. And it was approved, I guess, and I understand the money's been allocated for it. And it's just kind of in a holding pattern. And it just kind of affects, obviously, our operation, our credibility with these suppliers as we move ahead and try to order new things with them. You know, we'll be on like a COD basis, which isn't always a great place to be. So that's the first part of that I'm kind of questioning. And the second one I'm concerned with because I have for the marquee sign.
Well, we're only on this one right now.
Okay.
This is not the marquee sign.
No, it is.
Part of it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm
Part of
sorry.
it, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So then on the marquee sign, I'm concerned because Wayne County's called me. I guess we've extended the grant. We've extended it for a second time. They're saying I have to June 30th to get this grant processed and this completed. And it seems like we're also like in a holding pattern on that. And we stand to lose the grant could be just canceled out by Wayne County. Possibly at this point, and that would just be a total loss to us for, I believe it's like $63,000.
$42,000.
$42,000 rather. So just trying to clear it up and get some clarity so I can understand it and know, and make sure you know what we stand to lose from it, from not clearing these up, and I'm not really sure why.
Council Chair? So I have a question. So 85,000 coming from the fund balance. And what about the other one, reimbursed county parks, 163? So do you know anything about it?
I need some help on that one.
Correct. So there are two Wayne County millage grants that we received. One was the 44,000 that was from 2021, 2022, and we extended it twice for the 44,000 that's remaining for Waddell Park. After that, the county moved into a 3-year cycle of grant awards. So we received $118,000, and that was for the park at the Van Houten Park. So that was part of the play structure that was purchased for that. So the total amount of the appropriation is going to have to be allocated into the budget because we've received the money, it's been approved by council, it just was never budgeted. So we're asking for.
Will add up to 163, that's what you're saying?
Correct, I believe it's 118 plus the 44.
Okay, what about the other money that was supposed to be allocated? So what happened to the money that was allocated for the other project?
So as we explained in the study session, there was a timing issue because if you see the backup, this purchase items got approved on July 15th. At the time, the fiscal year budget for 23-24 had the money in them. So we approved them with the money in their last fiscal year, but they didn't get paid before the deadline of July for this year. So it carried on to a new fiscal year where there was no budget at all in the Parks and Recreation Department for capital improvements. So the money went back to the fund balance last year, and it was never budgeted for this year. But again, the work had already been approved and implemented by the Parks and Rec Director. So that's why these are coming right now.
Are we able to separate those two? Just approve the county reimbursement?
Absolutely. That's why they have specific motions, so you can approve which motion you want to pay and which one you don't. So if you would like to pay just the Canfield portion of it, then you would approve the budget amendment for the 63,075.
No, the 63,000 was including the controversial, and I don't want to go through because it's.
So that is not including the change order. That was what was approved by council per the motion 23-345. There is a change order of $7,000 that is not included in this budget amendment request.
Clerk, can you,
Council Chair? Just,
hang on 1 second, let him finish first. Are you all set here?
I'm good.
Can you confirm that motion for me? That the amount on that? Go ahead, Councilman.
24-345. It's in the backup. Yep.
Go ahead, Councilman Saab.
For the sign, I'm reading the motion, and the former director stood up there and said, I have extra money in my budget that I'm moving around for this sign. And you can watch that meeting, it's on YouTube, bluntly lied, and said, I have this money on the side, and now I'm looking at that motion. Nowhere on here does it say a budget a line item, a GL account, or it's coming from fund balance?
In the motion itself from back in July?
July 24th.
So it says specifically, to award the bid for the Canfield Center Central Park marquee sign to Lead Lion in the amount of $63,075. Funds for this project are from the Wayne County Park Millage 2021-2022 in the amount of $44,624, with the balance to be paid out of the 2024-2025 recreation budget. In addition, authorize the mayor and the clerk to sign the contract for the installation and the controller and treasurer to issue payment as outlined in 7A. So yeah, what she put in there was from the 2024-2025 recreation budget. It wasn't specified where it was coming from. That's why the budget amendment is requesting that extra amount to come from the appropriation from fund balance.
Council Chair.
You all say here, Councilman Saab?
Councilman Constant, thank you for voting no on that one, too.
Thank you,
All right, guys, we're not here to.
Thank you.
Let's keep it here in business, please. Are you all done here?
I'm all set.
Councilman Munson.
I'm not sure, but the Waddell Park, because that's in my neighborhood. I remember it came before us, claims to pay it, and there was some kind of problem with the way the bill was presented to the comptroller, and there was an issue with that. Can Shannon speak on that? I mean, because I think this did come, there was an issue with it, something happened with it, because I know it came before us to have this park, the money allocated for this.
I don't recall if there was any issues. I just know it's not budgeted, so that's why we're requesting the budget amendment.
Yeah. Well, we approved it though, right?
Correct. The purchase, again, it was approved last fiscal year,
Yeah,
so that's where the issue is, right? It was approved last fiscal year when there was money remaining in the budget. It was never allocated for this year's budget.
Yeah, thank you. Council Chair, I said this before at a meeting, that the money that's left over from one year's budget to another, we should keep track of that. I mean, no matter, you can spend it wherever you want, but say, hey, we got, $10,000 from the parks, we didn't spend it. Okay, it's to have a little category, and what did we do with that money? Because it just goes in the general fund, and then it's just spent whatever. That money was already approved for that specific department or project.
I got a question, man. You get my brain triggering, I swear you do. You do a good job at it. We haven't used any of the money from our emergency manager position, and that money at the end of the year is gonna get pushed over to the fund balance, to the general ledger, like it does every year, because we don't have an emergency manager. So the remaining balance, since we're not paying an emergency manager, can you tell me how much is still in that line item and what we can use, and can we transfer it so that we can use it here? Why don't we start looking at things like that we're not using like that?
So with regards to the police department.
That's not the police department, that's emergency manager.
It's still managed by the police chief, so I give the police chief the authority to manage the budget as he sees fit. Given the overtime expenses, I'm assuming that money is going to end up going to try to balance some of that out.
Time out. We split it in the last year's budget, okay, Mariana, we split it, and then we also passed a resolution.
Correct.
Hang on, give me a second, please. We passed a resolution so that the administration, including the police chief and the mayor and Roger, you and everybody else, cannot use additional, you cannot move things from different line items. So you can't take what the emergency manager is making and say, oh, we're just going to use it for overtime. Or, we're going to take for emergency manager, we're just going to give it to the chief of staff. Like that. That's not allowed.
Correct. Again, given the situation today of the overtime not being approved, I'm assuming the director responsible for the emergency management is going to have to come back and look at those extra numbers and see where he can grab some money to try to cover that. He would still have to come back to you, but it's still his budget, so.
Okay, but, no, it's the city's budget. It's the
Yes,
taxpayers' budget.
correct.
But that money's still available because we're not paying an emergency manager, correct?
At the moment, no, we've only paid for, I believe, half of the year for an
Not even half
emergency
the year.
manager.
Yeah, not even half the year.
Yep.
So why don't we take that money, and since we're not using it, instead of, so kind of like what Councilman Wanso said, don't put it back in the general fund. Let's take that money, boom, let's at least take care of what we have to pay on this. And that's only 25,000 because 44,000 of it is coming. See how we resolve things together?
Yeah, you can do
Why
that,
don't we, when we table
absolutely.
this, get us that number, how much is in there? Because we know we're not going to use it for the rest of the year. I mean, is the mayor planning on putting an emergency manager? God forbid, if an emergency does happen, we are not staff for an emergency.
So the acting emergency manager is Bob Ancrap, so I don't know if his salary was being charged to the emergency manager area.
No,
So
he was not. He was a part-time position in which we approved his budget for him on
again, he's currently the acting emergency manager.
I didn't
part-time.
know that.
Correct.
Yeah.
I told you that a while back when you guys asked me.
But I thought he resigned from that position.
Correct. And in the lack of an emergency manager, we need somebody to file the reports that are required for that, and Mr. Ancrep has been filling that position. So I would just have to double check how much is remaining and if it's coming out of there or if it's coming out of the
What is that, Councilman?
communications.
Last meeting, I asked if we had an emergency manager, and they said no.
I said the acting one was Bob Ancrep. You can look at the minutes.
Okay, right now, you know what? Let's forget the emergency manager position. Any position, like we're trying, I don't want it to be this like a back and forth. There's
The
money that
GIS coordinator is free, so that hasn't been budgeted at all or used
it?
by the GIS coordinator. So that's a
What's the
position
GIS
that
coordinator?
it was in the building and engineering department. It was approved. That hasn't been filled. So that's an area that you
There
could
you go.
take it.
That's amazing. You know, what we also approved for, we also, like, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna have enough time to hire the other two positions that Councilman Wanso asked for.
This guy's gonna bring that up too.
You know, let's take that money, let's move some money around, like they're just, it's
Two
sitting in an
ordinance
account.
officers.
And let's move it around. That's how you move money around. Instead of saying we're gonna take rainy May funding, then all this extra money that we budgeted for that we didn't use is gonna go in the general fund. Time out. We are gonna do a study session on this, because there's money in that budget. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go through this entire budget of things that we have not spent any money from, and we're gonna take it out, and we're gonna help support every single budget item. That's what we're gonna do.
It would be great if you could prioritize which departments you want to focus on the most so that we can.
I think we need to, we wanna find the $1.7 million. That's what we wanna do. Every single department is prioritized to us, including IT, including, fire, I mean, definitely DPW, our police, our Parks and Recs. There's $1.7 million in the budget that's not being used right now, and I can promise you, we can find it from just two positions. The ordinance officers that we did not fill the vacancy for, which is coming up to July. And guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna re-budget for two additional spots, because we're gonna do that. But we're gonna finish this year with that money, and it's just gonna go in the general fund, and it's gonna be spent. So instead, let's pick it around. You like that? Unless you already spent the money.
Again, I think that the current budget amendments show our projections of what is going to be overspent. There are certain budgets, as we explained in the study session, that have already been overspent, including the overtime department. So again, whether or not you approve those budget amendments, those areas have already been over budget. The controller had already given you those numbers. So yes, there's a few positions here and there that aren't filled. It is not sufficient. That is why these budget amendments are in front of you.
So if you're telling me right now, if we miraculously hired, like you guys were supposed to, two ordinance officers right now, we don't have the money for them? But we budgeted for them.
Again, the money is still there for that particular general ledger item, right? However,
It's not real.
we are forecasting other expenses that are going to require that money.
But you can't use it without coming to us.
Correct.
But so you're gonna assure me right now, on the record, you guys have not spent the money right now. So if we request it, it's there.
Again, you have not spent the money in certain general ledger items. The ones that you have overspent are the ones that are in front of you right now.
We didn't overspend.
That are overspent. Sorry, I didn't mean to say you. That are
No, we did
overspent
not
in
overspend
general are the ones that are in front of you. And in my opinion, they exceed what is not overspent.
I also do apologize. I don't want you to think like my brain is just firing off right now on finding ways of, well, great, if we budgeted for something and the money's there, we're not using it, let's give it to the Park and Recreation Department, let's give it to the Fire Department, instead of using the water fund, so now it looks like we need to go back, and I'm gonna do some homework this week of things that we approved, and I'm gonna go back through those budgets, and I'm gonna see things that we didn't approve, how to break it up and how to get that money back. And that's gonna be the solution.
Okay.
Council Chair, we'll have to ask, okay, Council Chair?
Yes, sir, I'm
I mean,
sorry.
We're gonna have to ask, all the directors, maybe they didn't spend all their office supply money, or, all the things that they were budgeted for, that they had exhausted that fund.
Council Chair, you have a motion on the table.
Okay, we got a motion on the table. I think we're gonna find the money. I think I believe there's $1.7 million. If the administration didn't move around money like they're not supposed to, then I think there's close to
Should
$2
be in
million
there.
that we can
Yep,
find.
Should be in there.
Yeah.
Council Chair.
Yes, sir.
And we can check with our county commissioner, David Kniezek, and our state representative also, but grant money is available.
Yes, and I'm, yeah, we should have had a grant writer and a lobbyist, but that's here nor there. Can you, can we table this, refer this back to the administration?
I'd like to amend my motion to refer it back to the administration, 9N.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Breyer, can you second that?
Sure.
Everybody
Yes.
okay with that? To refer this back to the administration?
Council Chair,
Yes, sir.
Director, I mean, is this something that can wait? I mean, I know these people aren't paid, and you say it's a problem. You think another couple of weeks would be an issue?
2 weeks.
I don't think 2 weeks would, they've waited, but at least we would be moving in a direction and I could give them at least some answer that we're
Yeah.
waiting on it.
I think we're gonna find the money. I'm actually like very optimistic. Thank you. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Unless we're planning on using that money for other things that like, we're just not being told. I think that there's money there.
Has to be.
There has to be. Next up, we have, you know, there's quite a few things here. Some of the council members are fasting. Is it all right for some of the council members if we take a quick 5-minute break, let us drink some water? I mean, nothing from the audience. I want to get, you know, I want everybody who's fasting to be able to get their break real quick. Is that okay? All right, can we do, Madam Clerk, can we take a quick 5-minute recess? Let's just drink some water and we'll jump back into it. Thank you. Thank you to all those that were allowing for that quick break. Yep, I'm on.
Council,
Thank you for that quick break. Next up is 9-0.
Council Chair.
Yep, Councilman Saab.
Well, 9-0 is Acting Chief Hadar, Police Department Budget Amendment. Recommended motions that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the Police Department clothing account, 101-300-713.000 as follows. Transfer $35,000 from repair and maintenance, 101-300-932-000 to clothing account, 101-300-713-000 as outlined in 9-0.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Saab, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. I just want to make it clarifying, congratulate him. It's no longer acting chief.
Yes.
It is current chief.
That's correct.
Hadar. So he was sworn in today. Congratulations to Mr. Hadar, the Chief Hadar. Any discussion on this?
Council Chair, this is just only transferring money from one account to the
Yep.
other, so.
Yep, I see that. Seeing no other discussion, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up is 9P, Acting
Yes.
Chief of Police Hadar, Police Department Overtime Budget Amendment.
Council Chair.
Councilman.
I move to refer this back refer back this to the administration, that the Dearborn Heights City Council refer back the following amendment to the Police Department overtime budget as outlined in 9P.
Support.
Account number.
You don't have to go through all
Okay.
that. Because we're going to refer back this to the administration until the next meeting, and hopefully we can come together to find a resolution to find that money.
Support.
And this is for the overtime. Again, this is not us saying no. This is us saying, we'll come up with a solution with the administration.
Yep,
Whether it's
yep,
for
we
water,
understand.
we'll
We
look into
understand.
the other budgets.
Yes.
So we're referring this back to administration, Judge. You got that? All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up is Treasurer Explain, Treasurer Office Budget Amendment.
Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the Treasurer's Office budget as outlined in 9-Q. Account number 101-253-709-000. Account name overtime, current budget 1,000. Requested amount 3,000. Amended budget would be 4,000. Account number 101-253-981-000. Capital outlay, current budget is 0. Requested amount is 2,590. Amended budget would be 2,590. Account number 101-253-707-100. Account name part-time, current budget is 15,000. Requested amount to be transferred from the part-time would be 5,590. The amended budget to the part-time would be 9,410.
Second.
It's just a complete wash here.
It's
Correct.
just transferring.
Yep.
Transfer from
Runs.
part-time to overtime.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, second by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. Next up, we have WDHT Director Cooper, WDHT Budget Amendment.
Council Chair,
Councilman,
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the following amendment to the WDHT budget as outlined in 9-R, account number 101-809-981-0001. Account name PEG Capital Improvement, current budget 5,000, requested amount 10,000. Amendment budget would be 15,000. Account number 101-000-699-011. Appropriation from the PEG fund balance, requested amount is 10,000.
Second.
motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Saab. Here you can see the money's coming from the PUG account, it's not coming from the fund balance. I'm okay with this if everybody else is. Any other discussion?
Council Chair,
Yep, Councilman?
I know it's come from the account, the PEG fund. What is this for? Because I know it's, the PEG fund's restricted on what you can use.
Equipment.
Equipment.
It's equipment, sir.
What kind?
What's it?
Oh, for one, this. So this can get repaired. We're looking at some more cameras for the department. Cameras are pretty expensive. One of the things, just let you know that we're looking at doing is integrating a drone use. So we can take some aerial photos and videos of some of the events, and part of that, we have to get our department licensed to be able to drive them.
Is this for like more photo ops, or is this for like actual?
We want to take like the Christmas tree lighting when we have the festival to be able to get some good pictures and videos.
I like that.
And everything. So we're trying to get ahead with it.
Who will operate it?
We've got to get the training for that and everything. We'll get both of our members trained
Well,
and
Thank you.
licensed.
Council Chair,
Yep.
that's almost like a luxury item there. And how much do we have left in our PEG fund?
700, 800,000 maybe? Maybe $1 million?
It's close to like $1 million.
And it's restricted, so I mean, we're using
Can we
it.
borrow from
Yeah.
that?
No,
No, that one you can't, sir.
that one, the state will come down on you. Any other discussion? You guys making a lot of noise with those rappers out there. No, thank you. Just joking. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. Next up
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Council Chairman Baidoon, extension of the temporary food use license in specific locations resolution. Bless you, bless you.
Council Chair,
Councilman,
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council further extend the amended resolution regarding city council approval process for temporary food uses and licenses at specific locations for an additional 180 days as outlined in 11A.
Second.
motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion?
Council Chair?
Yep, Councilman?
Well, what does this mean? Does it mean that the current licenses are being extended 180
No,
days?
we have a
or the
temporary-
process that we're using is changing, or?
No, I knew this was going to get brought up. I kind of felt like you were going to say it too, so I'm going to tell you how this works. Councilman Ahmad brought this resolution before he left.
Councilman Abdallah.
I mean, Councilman Abdallah,
Late.
former council chairman Abdallah, Dave Abdallah. The administration was working on it. I think this is from like Flat Coast time. And before I was on city council, I asked for him to put something like this forward because I had a food, not a food truck, I had a trailer. And I used to sell hot dogs out of it.
Yeah.
And one day I got a ticket, and I got a ticket, I gave it to an attorney. The attorney said, this is the wrong ordinance, and so the ticket was dismissed. And I continued to operate without the city having anything there. And the city still doesn't have anything there. But people were not able to collect or be able to enforce any of these laws, like making sure that they're doing background checks, to making sure that their electric is being done properly, to making sure that they have a health department license, to making sure that their food trucks are insured. There's nothing there by the city right now. So this is just simply saying, we're making sure that our agreement is that they have to have all of these, or they can't open up. And so we're just renewing our vows, basically.
Council Chair?
Yeah.
For the record, we did get a food truck ordinance passed by the Planning Commission. It's 16 pages, it's thorough, it covers the insurance, the health department. zoning, all issues. It went through 3 presentations. If you want it to be revisited and bring back to the planning commission, please let me know, but they did pass it initially if you want it back, other than 6 months.
Let's get back on I think what happened was we were going back and forth on the distance that you can have a food truck or not. I think we said we were going to only have X amount on the north end, X amount on the south end, or there was only so much that you can have in certain areas. We were hoping that the administration said they were going to work on a centralized location. We're using different ideas. You remember, I think you and I spoke about it. You were looking at like Garden City and like Novi. You said you were looking at their licensing as well. So, yeah, maybe you can bring it back, and I think ultimately we can stamp this into our books.
What was amended in that resolution?
It was how many we wanted. Yeah. How many food trucks were allowed. I think we're all kind of in a little bit of a disagreement. And
is it highlighted or anything in this?
No, this is right here is just say we're renewing our vows again.
This resolution that's in the backup, is this the one we're going with, or is this the old one?
This is the 180-day regular one. Correct. It's just continuing basically saying, if you read it, that you have to have the health department, you have to have a background check to make sure that you don't have no child abuse or, being on Lotus for any type of like sexual assault and things like that to be able to work in the city. So, I mean, it's still a thorough background you have to do to be able to open one in Dearborn Heights.
So this one in our backup is the
original.
It's original.
It's the original. It's not the new one that the administration has brought forward. This is the one Dave Abdullah brought a few years back that we're just basically doing.
So where is the amended one?
It hasn't been brought forward back. We tabled it, and nothing was brought forward back.
So we're approving the amended one, but we don't know what it is.
No, we're approving the original temporary food truck license is what you're voting on.
Further extend the amended resolution regarding city-approved.
This is the amended because you're extending it for another 180 days. So
that's why I asked if that's what it was.
Yeah, so it's for just 180 days. It's amending it because you're going for an additional 180 days.
Okay.
You're not using the amended one that the administration brought.
Okay, all right, good. Thanks.
If you read it, it's the same one that we do every 180 days.
I was looking for any differences in there.
Yeah.
Wasn't, okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you, Councilman Abdullah. Next up is temporary food truck tent license renewal applications for Solid Oak Eatery.
Council Chair.
Councilman Saab, you were quick to get that.
I love this place. I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the temporary food truck cart license renewal application for Solid Oak Eatery as outlined in 13A.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Saab, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion?
Council Chair.
Yes, sir.
I visited the site, like I'm trying to do it all the time on our license renewals. The food trailer is immaculate. I mean, it's spotless. I mean, it's like unreal how clean it is. Just like the store itself. I mean, those two people, Nicole and Ali, they are like, they're on the ball with this.
I would ask you what's your favorite thing from there, but I'm still fasting and I'm hungry, so I don't want you to tell me the chili cheese.
Oh, no.
Try the sauce.
It's spicy, the hot
the
stuff.
soup. I like the soup.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Chili cheese soup's good.
Yep. I checked it out and it met my approval.
Nice.
If that means anything.
Does. You're doing a great job, Councilman. Serving the residents. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Business license renewal for Uncle Ray's Place.
Council Chair.
Councilman Saab.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the business license renewal for Uncle Ray's Place at 245021 as outlined in 13B.
Support. Motion made by Councilman Saab, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion? I will just say, I have nothing against used car dealers or any used car lots or anything like that, but Uncle Ray's Place on Warren and Telegraph is the neatest, I don't say the cleanest, but the neatest, most organized shop I have ever seen. No matter what time of the day, as soon as they close, there's not a car out in the parking lot.
That's a restaurant.
This is the restaurant.
Oh, I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Warren and Telegraph. What's the muffler shop thing called? Is it Ray's?
Raise.
They just closed.
They're closed.
They closed?
Yeah.
No.
Elijah bought them, I think. Speedy mufflers.
It is.
Across from Shell.
Well, after, I mean, technically it's a restaurant. After they close, everybody leaves the parking lot. So.
Yeah, that's.
All right.
Council Chair?
I thought we were talking about the collision shop.
He's been
I'm sorry.
Excuse him.
Yeah, I need to eat. I need coffee.
Council Chair?
Let's get done so he
Yeah.
can get food.
Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
Again, I visited this establishment, and the owners recently added a large kitchen to their facility, and it's all state-of-the-art equipment. He showed me around everything that's back there. The tables inside the lounge area are kept really clean, and the bar looked really neat. Once again, this meets my approval for license renewal.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Yes.
Do they still have fish and chips?
Yes.
All right. I'm
Every
happy.
Friday.
Do they?
See, it's good you don't know about this place, man.
It's Friday. You can have it today.
All right, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I see Lou out here laughing. Lou, I swear, Lou. I'm glad we got some laughs out of Lou today. All right, motion carries. Next up, we have permanent traffic control device, handicap sign on Powers Avenue.
Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the placement of a handicapped parking sign at 21302 Powers as outlined in 13C.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion?
Council Chair, I mean, I've been asked for a couple of times for my residents that need a handicap parking in front of their house because other people park in front of it. I mean, is this a business this is going in?
No, we can pay backup.
You did.
Look at the
Where'd you say?
Backup tells you.
I know, but where'd you say it at?
We had the doctor's note.
Yeah,
The guy has
Yeah.
no parking.
The guy has
in
no
his
parking.
driveway.
yeah.
Yeah,
And he has.
and so he's, yeah.
That's why because I've had a resident reach out to me that has.
Ever reach out to the administration, and the administration will?
Well, he has.
And what happened?
Nothing.
Is that the guy across from Annapolis?
Yeah.
On Clifford?
Yep.
Yeah.
He needs a handicap
wants to
van
add
that pulls up in
additional
front of his
cars,
house, so he get wheelchair
Well,
accessibility.
why don't you put an email to the administration, CC me on there if you want, and we
Okay.
can start looking into it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up, we have comments from council members.
Council Chair.
Councilman Saab.
I just want to wish everybody that's celebrating Ramadan and Eid Mubarak this coming weekend.
Sunday, hey, can't wait for this to be done.
That's it from me.
We got a couple more days.
Oh, that was fast. Council Chair,
Yep.
just to echo whatever Councilman Saab said, Eid Mubarak to everybody observing and happy Women's Month for everybody. Thank you, Council Chair.
Thank you.
Council Chair,
Councilman Constance.
I want to wish everyone too a peaceful Ramadan and end of Ramadan and end of Lent and happy Easter. And today is Greek Independence Day. Today Greece gained their independence.
We got 3.5 weeks.
So happy Greek Independence Day and my birthday.
Yeah, did you guys get that?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Are you next, Councilwoman Breyer?
Yes, please.
Go ahead. Guys, point of order. Let
After
Councilwoman
our
Breyer
last
speaking.
gathering last Tuesday, I learned about Public Works, water bills, more details here. Thank you, Mariana. The rate per unit, the water billing is broke down. 49% goes to GLWA for the purchase of water and sewer. 18% is admin. 15% is system maintenance. 11% is capital improvement. So that's a little bit of help. And today I got this lovely breakdown, which shows what people don't understand about their water bill. And essentially, in most cases, the people don't read the actual and the estimated portions, and most bills that they're complaining about are more than 2 months. And what they don't understand is we had, I believe, bonding in both let's see if I can get this right. I learned today that we bonded something in like 2012 and then again in 2019, and we're still paying on it, and it's in our water bill. And it's a 30-year. So that's a bad thing that people don't understand that's also included in our water bill. And then when we have all these water main breaks, that excessive flow, we all pay for it. So I just thought I'd bring that forward so people understand a little bit better.
Thank you. Anything else, Councilwoman?
I'm ready for announcements.
Well, that's, okay, we're going to finish that up. Any other council members?
Council Chair?
Councilman Wenzel?
Couple things. We're talking about raising some extra money. I got a communication from a resident, and he's always coming up with stuff, out of the box. And he asked me a question. He said, what are we doing with the water meters that get replaced? They're heavy, and they can be scrapped. And who's getting the money for the scrapping of these water meters? I mean, there's gonna be thousands and thousands of them. I mean, that could be a lot of money. I didn't see anything in the contract about scrapping. Who gets the money for scrapping?
Good question.
They are heavy. They're solid. They're all steel too, or I think they're steel. I don't think they're aluminum. Cast iron? Probably cast iron.
So right now, all those water meters are brass water meters. We could ask if Ali's still on here, if there is if it's written into the contract. Right now, they're all being stored at the DPW, so the individuals are going out from the contractor, bringing the old ones back, documenting them all, taking part of them, partially disassembling them so that we can either scrap or sell the old meters, and then the actual plastic heads are a little bit different. They're really not worth a whole lot. They might just be garbage. Right now, they're all stored. They're coming back to the DPW in bins. So I don't know if there's a plan, if it was in the contract documents. We have every 2 weeks, the engineering team and the Ferguson and Vepo team meet to discuss the progress of this particular program. And we haven't gotten to that point yet, but they're all being stored at the DPW right now. So there's 5 shipping containers on site and a couple of large steel bins we put together. So
that could be, that's brass, that's even more expensive probably for scrapping.
yeah, there'll have to be a lot of details worked out with it, but I mean, our goal is to find ways to
Let me get Mr. Dearborn. Go ahead.
salvage some of the material.
Thank you, John. Director.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, just for the records, it was always part of the project. The meters, the old meters belong to the city. So they are accurately being stored and they're accounted for. And then once we finish the project, we're still in area number 1. We're storing them for 2 reasons: for record keeping. So if we have to verify the final read of any meter, they're always there. And then once the project is complete, absolutely, we will be selling them either to communities that spare or sell them as salvage. But yes, that's always been part of the project.
Good. There's some money there.
Yeah.
They are valuable, very
Yeah,
valuable.
yeah, brass, that's.
Yes, sir.
Sounds like copper. Might be more than copper.
Yeah, and then you can get more money if you sell them to an older communities to use them as a spare. So,
Getting money in.
Thank you. Okay. Couple more things. Saturday, May 17th is our 32nd annual Rain Garden Ecorse Creek cleanup at the Richard A. Young Center.
What day is that?
Saturday, May 17th. The Watershed Steward Commission is hosting the annual Rain Garden Ecorse Creek cleanup project. Starts at 9 a.m. I'll be posting it on city's website and then on my own Facebook page. And we'll also be having our 2nd annual Family Fun Night at Annapolis High School. Last year, we had over 500 participants, and this is a completely free event. All the food, games, prizes, everything are free to the public, and that'll be on May 10th, the day before Mother's Day, and we'll be having special Mother's Day projects that the kids can make for their mothers that night, and hope to see everyone there. More details to come on that. And like I requested earlier, I'd have the ordinance director give us a brief update on the Pelham Trailer Park, what went down last week.
We were in court last week, and of course, they got a new attorney, so we have to wait and adjourn it another week and a half so we can get caught up. But we went out there today with the Eagle Company. They're like an EPA testing, well, not testing, but checking their sewer links and all their hookups. We went trailer to trailer. We were out there for 3 hours today. She was not impressed at all. and I think she's going to cite them, turn it over to Laura, and probably pull their business license as well. We're waiting for her report. It'll probably take 2-3 days to get that. But, yeah, they were not impressed at all. They actually had someone from the DNR out there today with us as well, from their environmental group.
I would add, Council Chair.
Last week, weren't you out there with the building
Why don't
department?
you speak on it, because I know you represented it.
Yeah, we were out there, and like I said, we condemned trailers then. When we were in court last week, we got court order to do inspections. I believe they inspected approximately 16 trailers that people were home, and they all failed pretty much. I think they may have tagged 1 or 2 more as condemned. But like I said, I think the EPA is going to be hopefully our big key to this, because with the waste going onto the ground, like I said, she was not impressed at all. And she was very upset. She went trailer to trailer, so she checked them all out.
Yeah, I know that some of them trailers were in bad shape, but I know there were some that were in pretty good shape too, right?
Not many.
Not
There's
many,
some
there
that
are some.
are savable, but most, I would say, if we even get in the rest of them, they probably won't pass inspections. And even if they do we do inspections on them, they won't be able to bring them up to code.
Now, my main concern, I voiced it to you and several people, is that if they are condemned, what's the process? Are the people evicted from them? And if so, where are they going to go? And I brought up the fact that I was contacting the Red Cross, and Roger, through the administration, through Roger, stated that they already had something in place for
Well, in
replacing
the
people.
court order we got from the judge last week, I believe that he even put in there that anybody who's displaced will have to be on the cost of the trailer park itself. Like I said, but we're still working. Like I said, I think once we get the report back from Eagle, that'll be a big step for us. We go back to court, especially if they close them down and they get Lara involved.
Okay, so you're working on some kind of fund that the owner would have to put up to.
Well, that's going to be up to the judge. There'll be a bond the judge puts on it. The judge didn't want to do anything ahead of himself, because then they're going to put a stay on everything, and we want to start over and get a 3-month extension on everything. That's why the judge says, let's just get out there, do the inspections. Like I said, we have another court date, I believe, in 2 weeks to go back with the new attorney. So hopefully we'll have the report from Eagle, and hopefully Laura will get involved by then, have their report, and, go from there.
Great, we're going to stay on top of this for sure. Make sure
Councilman, if
the right thing is done.
Let Roger speak on it a little bit too, because I know he was representing the city. Me and you were in the courtroom. So if you want to just add a few things, Roger.
Yes, thank you, Council Chair. There were 16 trailers that were condemned, but these trailers some are back from 1969. Wow. There's a tremendous amount that are severely old, but when Eagle came on today, it was like a bulldog going after them, especially for the sewage that's dumped into the ground, the threats of E. coli going into our water system. It's a severe issue that's been malignant and lingering in the city since at least 2004. So I think right now, we did talk with Wayne Metro to look at emergency shelter options and supportive services for the families. We've contacted through our CDBG director, grants that are available through HUD to assist with relocations. But these trailers are in bad shape. And you have actually doors that are bolted shut, iron doors bolted shut. People cannot get out. So what we had asked initially for a $200,000 bond. We're going to ask for more to cover the costs from these people. But if they sell that park, we're going to have to look at the cleaning up the sewers and all the lack of infrastructure work that's been in that location for so long. So we're looking at everything there. We have a court date, I think, April 9th. But again, this is the 5th law firm that came in to represent them in the last two and a half years I've been involved. And they had over 7 days, fired their managers today. I guess they didn't like the court. So they've had about 8 managers last year. This Eagle representative is one who actually tackled the Ypsilanti trailer park problem, and I know we asked them to look at the E-course. I think this owner had actually hands-on in those as well. But I like that Lara's getting involved, and that's the licensing issues. And I think that how we will have a report, we did enter into the record all 6 pages of the evaluations on every one of those trailers. So that's evidence that's marked against the trailer park as well. This is the first time we've gotten that far with this group.
And I want to say, if that's okay, Councilman Wenzel, I was in the hearing with Roger. I listened to what our judges were saying, and, I believe Roger was requesting for a bond to be held against them so that we can get money from the owners who are out in New Jersey. Our judge also granted Eagle and inspections to be done, which, and she could have even went against his own will, but he said, we're going to do it because enough's enough. And the judge himself said, I went and I visited the site before ruling on this hearing today. Our judges in Dearborn said, I knew this was coming before me. I wanted to see it with my own 2 eyes. So it was a good hearing. Councilman Wenzel was also in presence with us there. Thank you. Bless you.
Okay, yeah, one more thing. The $5,000 check that was asked to be approved, we talked about that. Is that an issue now, or?
I mean, so you want me to talk about it, or do you want to talk about it? There's an email.
Yeah, you want to talk about it?
Okay, well, I'll say, I got a phone call, well, I got a text from Councilman Wenzel, who was at a hearing, or not in a hearing, for a swearing-in ceremony for one of the new firefighters. Congratulations to the new firefighter that started with us. And he told me that he was having a conversation with the treasurer, Lisa Clayton, about a $5,000 check that was being asked to Rush to pay for. I didn't know anything about this check. She talked to Councilman Wenzel. Councilman Wenzel texted me on it, called the treasurer, and she basically says, without anything, they asked me to pay a check without any information and to sign it and send it out. The treasurer said, I'm not going to do that. If you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, thank you. So the check was presented to me. I was told it had to go out immediately. It was a rush check. So I do what I normally do. I verify everything. And there was not any backup attached or in accounts payable module. So there's nothing like invoices or anything. It's to Comcast. And then I always check the general ledger because I'm going off of the charter, section 8.9. Which I shared with the council as well, what it says. And it says that it shall not be paid if it's exhausted, right? So the general ledger is exhausted by $115,000. So that's why, and if I was going to have Mr. Cooper come up, because I think this check and the urgency of this check, and I believe the mayor can still do it as an emergency, by the way, but it would have to come back to the council by the following meeting, according to section 8.9. So that's what I need clarification, because that is still locked up in the vault. And I think Mr. Cooper has some concerns with that check not going out possibly.
So this actually relates to my budget amendment. The Windstream technically is the telecommunication budget, which our Comcast business, this right here pays for our Comcast bill for all of our city buildings. That is our fiber internet connection with that. My telecommunication bill did go over budget because, as I explained in the study session, Windstream more than actually quadrupled for us. And it has taken a long time to be able to reduce that bill. And as we have paid that Windstream bill, and Windstream, just so that you know, is all of our desktop phones throughout the city, has eaten up all of the telecommunications budget.
Why?
As I try to explain in the study session, and I'm going to try to say this as simple as possible, we've had about 60 or so POTS lines throughout the city. POTS lines are old copper lines, okay? Analog, you can say. From the bill, they went from $20 a month to $400 a month per line, okay? I've had to spend, since this started happening, try to isolate and find out where all of those phone lines were, because there was no, when I took this job, there was no documentation what a lot of these phone lines were for. A lot of the lines through discovery have been deemed that they're just there. Even back in 2017, when Mitel was originally installed with the city, a lot of the numbers were just there because they said, hey,
They're there before, let's keep them. But it was at a much reduced rate. Okay? So we got hit with that, and I've spent, you can ask anybody, I've spent countless hours, days, months identifying these lines to be able to reduce them. Literally on March 10th, we were able to and by the way, you've already approved the motion to get this ball rolling, to get rid of these lines. That was my UMA and the MyTel upgrades. That's not the telecommunications budget, by the way. That was a different budget line item. To move those lines. So I ported on March 10th about 40 or so of those lines from being POTS lines to digital lines, which we pay about a penny a line once they're digital, with that. But the unexpected, we could not have predicted. And this is actually what I was going to say potentially during my budget amendment there. We could not have predicted that these were going to happen. And I feel horrible, and that's why I've spent, again, countless hours, days, months trying to identify these lines. A lot of these lines actually do deal with at the Justice Center and the 911 lines. Literally on April 15th and 16th, just so that you know, we'll be making announcements later. We're actually going to have to be bringing down some phone lines at the Justice Center, and that is actually going to include our non-emergency line, because that's a POTS line, and I've got to get that off that. Only way to get that off of it is to have downtime to do the configurations for it with it. And then that Friday, because that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, that Friday, the whole city will go down to do the final conversion so we can get off of Windstream with it. We're going to go from about $6,000 a month Windstream was to the $28,000 a month that Windstream currently is, which put me over budget. Now with all the work that's been done and moving to UMA, we're going to go down to about $1,400 a month. Wow. So there is going to be savings, but unfortunately, it's taken such a long time to identify these lines to get rid of them. So this bill right here, which is all part of that telecommunications line item there, that Comcast, again, that's our fiber internet for all of our buildings. Windstream, that's all of our phone lines. What also comes out of this budget line item is all the cell phones. Anything telecommunications comes out of that and everything. And unfortunately, as a result of Windstream, and I know the budget amendment specifically said Windstream because that was the biggest culprit of me going over budget on line item.
I just want you to keep in mind, though, just to tell you how this operates, if I can, Councilman Wenzel, you just can't give her $5,000 and say, pay this.
I did not do that, sir. I have that.
Yeah.
So, yep, so accounts payable, so because this is a recurring, kind of like a DTE bill and everything, he gets the notification when I get the notification, the bill, to have it paid, so we can try to get it paid in a timely manner, with that.
Thank you.
So, but that's where that came from and why it is important, because this is our communications, for our internet for every single building in the city right now.
Thank you. Councilman Wenzel, any more?
Yeah, what, do we direct the treasurer in this situation, or?
So that's what I was going to ask, because the general ledger is exhausted, and the charter, section 8.9 clearly says it should let me read it exactly. No warrant shall be drawn upon the treasury after the fund from which it should be paid has been exhausted, and it shall be voided. My question is, because of what you just shared, what you just heard from Director Cooper, I'm asking the council to possibly consider, because the general ledger is exhausted, but it does need to get paid. So I'm seeking that from you all by motion.
Councilman Wenzel, are you all set?
Well, no, I do have, there's several events taking place at the high schools, our local high schools in the next month. You can check on their websites. And there's one thing that was brought to my attention by a resident today, and I was a little bit sad that I wasn't informed about it, or I don't know if any of the council members, but tomorrow they're having a veterans fair.
From 1 to 5, yep.
Yeah, it's from, let's see. It's from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And it's to help veterans with, hospital questions. I think everything from clothing, anything that a veteran might need help with. And I believe, I don't even know. I'm part of the Veterans Affairs Commission here in Dearborn Heights, but I wasn't made aware of this, so I'm just reading this off of here. Some free legal advice. And I think it's at City Hall, right? Is it City
Yes,
Hall?
well, I know this chambers is booked for.
Oh, this Chambers, okay.
I don't know.
It's free and open to all veterans. So I encourage all veterans that have any issues or questions or concerns to attend this tomorrow, 2 o'clock to 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone of the council members, I'll wrap it up quick. Eid Mubarak to everybody. For the last almost 26 days, we've been fasting, where we don't eat from sunup to sundown. No drinking, no eating, and then we celebrate it with Eid. Eid is supposed to take place this Sunday, so a lot of your Muslims will be celebrating on Sunday, Monday with a lot of food. And just it's an appreciation. Everybody fits into their clothes because we're so skinny after the 30 days of not eating. It's actually the best. And then by a couple of days later, you're filled back up and you're like, but I hope that everybody gets to enjoy that. I also want to echo Councilman Ahmad and talking about, this Women's Month and Mother's Month, because I think the Women's Month isn't just talking about working women. It's talking about all types of women. It could be the women that are watching their children. It could be the women that are adopting the children. It could be the women that are working to help out their children. And so this is a month for all women. And so, and I just want to say, we have great women in our community. Councilman Ahmad is doing a phenomenal job running the Instagram, Facebook, City Council page. And he's finding these posts and he's writing up all these things about the great women in our community. And he's been shedding light on that. And I want to thank him for really taking the time for that. And lastly, I just want to give a little bit of respect to the council members again. Today was a very tough meeting. Tough decisions had to be made. And you guys all signed up to be the leaders. You guys all did a phenomenal job today. And I want to congratulate you guys on being true leaders today. So thank you guys for that. And lastly, police and fire, we love you guys. This was not a decision on saying we don't support you. Our DPW and our Parks and Recs and our ordinance department, we love you guys just as much. This is not us saying, and IT, I'm sorry. And IT, this is nothing against anybody in particular, not even against the administration. We want to be fiscally responsible. Weather's about to start breaking. People are going to be speeding. Blight is going to be growing. Your grass is going to grow a lot faster. Trim your, cut your grass, trim your bushes, pick your weeds, slow down, keep your windows down, but you don't got to go 60 down the neighborhood. But our police officers, men and women of the Dearborn Police Department will be out there, and our ordinance department officers, hopefully we can get 2 more, will be out there as well. Thank you so much. Next up, we have announcements from the administration. Here he comes.
I'm going to beat him to it.
Go for it.
I'm closer.
It's women's.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. On behalf of myself, Lynn Senya, City Clerk, and our Deputy Clerk, Flamont, I'd like to thank this honorable body for approving our training budget, and I want to give you a brief update. Okay, last week, Dana and I attended our second year of a 3-year program that's sponsored by the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks.
Where's that at?
I'm sorry?
Where does it take place at?
It was in Mount Pleasant.
Cool. Fire of chips.
Yeah, we were right behind the football stadium. Anyway, it started last Sunday at 3 o'clock. And some of the items were customer service and expectation. The leader of the group is named Steve Ludwig, and he's a retired DPW director south of Chicago. He was awesome. He's really get you going, and I'd love to have him come in here. Anyway, some of the topics were success through resiliency, effective meeting techniques and parliamentary procedure that was presented by a clerk from Grand Ledge that has been in the business for 20 to 25 years. He knows his stuff. He does it every day. So he was great. What's Your Style, which was by the presenter. Preparing for elections. The Bureau of Elections were there. This was an interesting one, too. Fraud and corruption. Somebody from the FBI was there. And then real leadership in public service. And then HR do's and don'ts, because some clerks in townships and villages have responsibility for HR. Freedom of Information Act. A retired director of the Michigan State Police was there our police department left. Anyway, where is he? The increase, I'm going to thank all the FOIA coordinators throughout the government for all of the increase in the Freedom of Information requests that they have, okay? But I think last week, I learned this too, was called Sunshine Week, which is there was a National Freedom of Information Day. It promotes public records and open government. And it started like 20 years ago, the reformation of it and the increase in it because of 9/11. So Google it. It's interesting. I won't, but it was very interesting. Other items that they had were strategic planning processes for clerk and creating an action plan. So we ended that last Friday. And then I came home with a cold. But anyway, one of the other things that I really wanted to, that both Deputy Clerk Flamont and I feel very strongly about this, is to start your days with your gratitude. What are you grateful for? Okay, so me, I'm going to share. I'm grateful for my daughters and my grandchildren. I'm grateful for you, your honorable body. You have some tough decisions to make. Okay, and of course, I'm grateful for my clerk and my election staff, and as well as all of the hardworking workers here in the city.
We're right. We're here.
I said your honorable body. I'm very grateful. That was my second thing, okay? The tough decisions that you have to. And last but certainly not least, is our community. We're all very grateful for all of you. So start your days with those gratitudes, okay?
Grateful for you, Madam Clerk.
Oh, I just want to give a quick update. So I've been putting some work into trying to update our city website with some more information, updated information. One of the most recent ones that's been updated is the DPW section with it. One of the things that, for example, that Nancy brought up, we created the document to how to read it. We're hearing what is being said, and we're trying to be able to provide some accurate information on the website. So if you go to the DPW portion of the website, it's been kind of reorganized to try to get the information a little bit faster to people with the 3-click rule of after 3 clicks, you lose somebody on a website. I also ask if you see information on there or potential, updated changes that can be made on the website, please let me know. As a team of one for the city, I can't always put all my time into the website. One of the things that we are doing too, to kind of go along with that water bill is working with WHT is to create a video of how to read the water bill. Besides going along with that, we've actually created the video in English, Spanish, and Arabic so that it can be read. We'll hopefully within the next week we'll have that all done and chopped up and ready to be able to share out there. Just be able to help the residents understand what's going on. Again, it's not meant to alleviate the bills, but just how to read the water bills and be able to go forward. So again, over the next few months, one of the things I am doing is putting a lot of effort in the website to just get the information in different ways and just update the look and feel of it.
Thank you, Director.
Any other announcements?
Council Chair?
Yep.
Should I do it from here?
Yep.
Okay, we have a very special meeting this Thursday at 7 o'clock at 3335 South Beach Daily, the South Dearborn Heights Civic Association. Our gracious clerk has agreed to come and fill us up on all kinds of information about elections, the use of signage, how long signs can be out ahead of and after, and et cetera. So please join us at 7 o'clock. Lynn gave up something else to do this for us, so I really appreciate that. And I did one comment. I had a person call in the South End. They have a serious rat problem. One gentleman opened up the hood on his car and it was full of rats. Rats eat your wires, your car doesn't work anymore, and it costs a lot to fix it. I had it happen in 2017.
Sure the address with our director?
I'll have to dig it up for you. Yeah. Okay.
Was the car sitting for a while?
I'm not sure. She didn't give me a whole bunch of details, but they were really upset because they're seeing them heavily in their neighborhood.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm done.
Are you all set?
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Breyer, for those announcements.
Sorry, I just wanted to follow up on what Director Cooper mentioned, which is that there's a lot of updates with the website. And if you go to the City of Dearborn Heights Facebook page, we are encouraging all residents to register to the Dearborn Heights Now. So in any area of our website, if you're interested in a specific topic, you can click Notify Me. So anytime that there's an update in that page, the residents will get an email or even a text saying new information has been added here. The reason I'm bringing this up right now is because we're ready to release the first e-newsletter. So we want as many people to register to the Dearborn Heights Now. That way they can get those letters and that information updated. So there will be updates on anything that's happening in the city, and we're going to try to release those more often.
Great idea.
Yeah. So we're excited that we finally had the time to get one of the issues ready for release.
Any other announcements? Seeing none, we'll move it over to open up to public comments. No Zoo here today, so you get to go first.
Maybe, don't say that yet. You might walk in
I
the door.
meant in person.
You might walk in the door.
How you doing, ma'am? You got 3 minutes. Please state your name, the city you reside in, the street that you live at.
Renee Myrna, Annapolis, Dearborn Heights. So one of the things about the roads being, the potholes being fixed, I haven't run into too many Dearborn Heights, but then again, I only travel like Telegraph mostly. But I do want to say, I live on Annapolis, and don't fix Annapolis because Ford uses it as a test track for their new trucks. I was told by the test driver. She said, I go down your street all the time. We test them. That's why they're always like covered in, plastic, and they use it as a test track. So there you have it. Maybe you can get some money from Ford for using it as a test track. One thing, just recently being, sort of kind of spring weather, you start cleaning out your house and stuff. But there's this lady called Marie Kondo. I don't know if anybody's familiar with her. She's the Oriental lady that had her own program where she was so famous because she got people to declutter, and it stayed decluttered. And I used her method, and everything stayed decluttered. And so it's really a phenomenal method. And she says you can't just go like to your closet and say, what don't I want or what don't I need? You have to basically gut everything and pick it up and say, does this bring me joy? Do I feel good when I wear it, or do I feel good when I use it? Do I have a purpose for it? Do I have a place for it? And if not, it goes out the door. And I'm telling you, use that method, then everything has a place. Well, I suggested, and then there's also this thing called zero-based budget, where you start the budget by knocking everything out and you say what actually has to come back in. What has to come back in, anything else stays out, and then you can pick and choose by what's next. So I was thinking about how that Marie Kondo can go to the zero-based budget, where you can just start from scratch, in paper, and say, what has to be here, and then the rest of the stuff pick and choose. And I was told by, I know it's two names, Hicks.
Lisa.
Hicks Clayton, okay. It's called priority-based budgeting. So you guys already had the idea. It's just a fact we got to use it. Go back to zero budget. And then I was also told by that young lady there, I don't remember her name, that she says that they kind of do that. 30 seconds. I got to talk fast. But she says that there's some obligations that have to be done. So I say be careful on the obligations that you add to the budget. And final thing, Dave Ramsey, that always works. Go back, if anybody knows about Dave Ramsey and the budgeting on YouTube, start with beans and rice and beans. Get down to, whatever you have to cut, whatever the people have to cut. If a tree doesn't have to get cut, get back to rice and beans and rice until that budget gets balanced. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Anyone else in the audience?
Renee, what was her name? Kondo? What was her name?
Marie Kondo.
Marie Kondo. Hope my wife's not listening to this.
Snyder. Snyder also, zero-based budgeting. How you doing, ma'am?
Good, how are you?
Long time no see. You got 3 minutes. Please state your name, the city you reside in, the street that you live on.
Margaret King, Dearborn Heights, Mayfair Street. With the budget and all the money and not having any, it really worries me because you set that money aside from Joey. Breaks my heart. Do we have any updates? Do we have anything? It's going to be spring. Kids are out. I know kids were flying up and down my street yesterday on scooters.
I'm sorry.
So, it worries me. It scares me. last time I found out what was going on was by Facebook. I would appreciate it if, you know, the transparency, the communication, what's going on, what needs to be said and done, what's our next steps. I mean, here we are again. That's what I have to say. We need money. Police issue tickets, DPW tickets. I don't know. I'm throwing out ideas to help, but I'm worried, Mo. I'm really worried about that money that was set aside for Joey. We don't need that accident happening again. And Saturday schools, Roger, the Saturday schools with what was going on, if people fly down, they got so many tickets, so many points, whatever, put them in Saturday schools so they can learn their lesson and this crap won't happen again. But that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Margaret.
And happy Eid.
Thank you so much. Next up, anyone else in the audience?
Council Chair.
Seeing none?
I had Joey's in my notes here to look into because I seen Margaret there, and I drive by his memorial every single day, and I think about it. And I was going to look into it, give her an answer on that, and see if there's
Well,
anything.
we set aside $1 million for the Joyce Smith
Yeah.
initiative that I brought forward.
Yeah, I know. I mean, is it there, and what are we doing with it? Is it collecting interest? I hope.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have Sue Kay. I think I know which Sue that is, but please state your name, the city you reside in, the street that you live on. You got 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. Sue Kaminsky, Amboy Street, Dearborn Heights. A few things. My water meter was replaced yesterday. They were fast, efficient. They took the old meter back with them, so good job. Thank you. Regarding the budget, Mo, I think you're too kind and too understanding, and I think you're going to have to ask the directors and administration to talk very precisely, and you're going to have to assume they're your children, and you're going to have to ask, what is the balance now? How much of that money has been allocated by previous motions and it is counted for? What is the current balance minus what's been counted for? And where are we at? And there's too much creative conversation by some of administrators, and they work very hard to make it hard for council to understand what's going on, and that way they can blame you. And I'm sorry it comes to this. Regarding police and fire, obviously those things need to take precedent in our family budgets. If we budget for pizza on Friday night and we can't pay the electric bill, we no longer get pizza. And as much as I want to see our parks done, we've been waiting for Van Houten Park for years. We may have to hold back on doing any more updates there. And the last resort, which council may have to do, is you may have to call the state in, because we cannot let residents not have adequate protection. We can't let Chief Brogan not be able to send an EMS to somebody's house or a fire truck. And unfortunately, guys, that's where we're at. And there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I think when Mariana told you what she expects to be at the end of the fiscal year, that has included money that has been allocated for, like you said, the emergency manager. I think, and I'm not sure because of the creative conversation, that the deficit is taking into account monies that have been allocated and not used. And I do agree that you guys need a very long meeting on this, separate, so that, and every single department head needs to be there. And council can request the mayor to come to a meeting. He must get his tush there. End of subject. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. You know, I want to say, one thing that I truly respect from Sue is when she hears these meetings, she understands and she recognizes certain things that this council goes through, what the police department goes through. And, you know, a lot of times people are pointing the finger, kind of like Councilman Wansel said today, you know, we're on TV, so we seem like we're the bad ones. Truth is, we're making the tough decisions, and we always seem like we're the bad ones. But when, you know, it gives me hope when we have our friends like Sue that come in here and say, Mo, we know what's happening, we know what's, the games that are being played, and it's not on the council, and I appreciate those type of comments. And I also appreciate the tough ones too, and the hard ones. But I do appreciate when we see that other people know what we're going through as well. Next up, we have Mrs. Lapointe. How you doing?
Hello, Council. Rachel Lapointe, Merrick Street, Dearborn Heights. I've got a whole bunch of stuff, so hopefully I can fit it in. First of all, thank you to Lynn for bringing up Sunshine Week. I've brought that up the last few years, talking about how important it is for records to be public, which I can bring that right to the next thing, which is that, as Sue was kind of talking about for budget season coming up, you guys need to have copies of every single contract and obligation that we have currently. You need to know everything that you are obligated to, and that includes employment contracts. If somebody has employment contracts, like directors that might have specific bonuses or things that you aren't currently aware of, you guys need to know what that is. If there's employees that are work from home employees that you guys might not see on a regular basis, you need to know about everything. And to make it easier on the rest of us, make it public on the comptroller's part of the website as part of the budget documents, so we don't all have to FOIA it. That would be amazing. On that topic with the budget, double check if forfeiture funds, I'm pretty sure we can use those for overtime for police funds, only police, but double check that. There might be some wiggle room there the last time I looked into it. I don't know if there's been any changes on that. It might have been something that changed recently, something like that. Also, you guys need to do a water rate study. You need to request that the purchasing director go out for bids for a water rate study. It used to happen every single year. Ask anybody, ask Ray Muscat. Every single year we had a water rate study with the water budget. It went over every single part of it, what debts were included, what made up your water rate. And then you guys could decide and look at it, maybe we can lower the water rate. It's entirely possible, because right now we do have a little bit of surplus in there because not as many water main projects have been getting done over the last 4 years as have been done in the past. Look back through the old minutes, look back through the old meetings, talk to older residents that have been around for a while. They can tell you how it used to be run. Blackhill wasn't perfect, but he was able to maintain stuff and keep it going on a regular cycle. And we kind of have to look back at that and go, what have we been forgetting about? What have we been missing? What motions can council put forward to direct the administration to do certain things that'll solve a lot of the problems that are going on right now? So thank you guys. Have a great night. And then I love Marie Kondo, but once she had kids, her whole thing kind of fell apart. And I think it's kind of where you guys have the responsibilities now that you can't say no to. You can't not buy diapers for your kids. You guys are going to have to pay what the contracts say, right? So I love the Marie Kondo example because that really keep reading her recent stuff since she's had kids. It's been great. Okay,
Thank you.
have a good night, guys.
Feel better.
Thank you.
Welcome. Next up is Shannon. I think Shannon was supposed to speak during announcements. I'm sorry. You can go ahead and unmute her if she still needs to speak or not.
Thanks, Mo.
Anytime.
I just had a couple of things I wanted to talk about. The water fund loan is not really a feasible option. Like the treasurer and clerk had mentioned, it is just a loan. You do have to pay interest on it. It's really just more of like a cash flow emergency situation, because at the end of the day, you still have to pay it back. And you still have to find the money. So I don't necessarily think that that's an option to pay for the budget amendments. I also just wanted to mention too that any extra funds at the end of the year that are not spent get automatically refunded to fund balance. So for the example that someone had mentioned earlier about the ordinance salaries line item, if there's $80,000 or $100,000 in that line item that hasn't been spent at the end of the year, that automatically gets refunded to fund balance. And then the last thing I just wanted to mention was related to the Comcast bill that was submitted to the treasurer today. The treasurer states that it's related to the fund being exhausted, not the specific GL line item. And the entire general fund has not been exhausted, so that technically could have been paid. But also that GL line item there have been a dozen payments made out of that GL line item since it's been over budget. Again, they've been approved on my end because they are related to the, like, city functioning properly with internet and phones. So that's why they've been approved on my end. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yep.
I appreciate you. Any other discussion? Anyone else on Zoom? Anyone on person? Seeing none, I know some of us want to break
Motion
our
to
fast.
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries.
Good evening, everyone.